OhaHyou everyone! Hello, it's me, Hoshiuta Yukihyou. And we're back again, same time as last night, for another Katawa Shoujo stream. Please do let me know if anything sounds interesting. I tweaked some audio settings, more so kind of made it so my voice wouldn't cut out as much. I was listening back to some of my stuff. Pumped the BGM up a little bit. I noticed it was a bit quiet. My voice is overpowering it, which I don't think is right. The BGM in this game is good. Speaking of BGMs, you noticed I muted my own, and we're just sticking with the title menu BGM. I remembered. Brain is growing larger. Larger brain. I can learn too. You'll probably hear my mouse click a little bit clearer, but, well. I kind of have a loud mouse, so it's to be expected. Today we have Act 3, Distance. You can see right here, they're separated into two different parts of the Act CG. Now, what could that mean for the newly budding relationship between Hoshiuta and Rin? We'll have to find out. We've got, I believe, 12 scenes? Things you hate is effect. Okay, I just have to... I don't do a good job of, like, pre-looking as to how the route is gonna follow. Affects further option, affects a further option. Choice not affect the ending. There's one H scene. It's not a good... Well, I should rephrase. It's not a typical NSFW scene today. It is most definitely not. It's the most viscerally uncomfortable one, and it's like that for a reason. People who've played this game definitely know what I'm referring to. It is Sprockets versus Cogs. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it out. Not recognized you in the chat before, so I'm glad you have chosen to tune in. Just going over the overview of what we're looking at today. Route 3 is actually or Act 3 is the one that actually has the bad ending. So this will open up with a little bit more Act 3 Saturday. But first we can take a little look at what we got. These are the CGs we picked up last time. 6 of them. And then I think we completed this. Our item go through. Each of these. I think because we got... What was it? Oh no, we got one out of 2 we needed for this. Okay. Our library, we got all 16 of Rin's first act scenes. Or second act scenes. We're 87% of the way done with our library, and we have completed the cinema. We've seen all of the cutscenes. The only things left are the gallery and the library. Jukebox has been finished since Lily's route. It's exciting. It's really coming true. This is the home stretch. We've got, I believe it is 3 choices for the good end, for our path to the good end, 4 to get the bad end. Oh. I'm not looking forward to getting those on Saturday. I just have to be completely honest with you. They're gonna be painful. They're gonna suck. I might cry. Might cry on stream because of Rin's bad and neutral ends, which is why we're doing them before the good end. Because I love the good end. I love the line it ends on. I have the final CG from Rin's good end as my desktop background, and I've had it there for over a year now. I love it so much. But, I guess the summary for Act 2, Hoshiuta realized he was getting very bitter, withdrawn. It was a shell of himself, I think he used. He wasn't smiling. Rin noticed that. So he decided... He said it to Rin well, Rin was high on codeine, but she told him, or he told her that he's gonna get better. He's not gonna be a sullen person. And then a couple days after, I think it was. No, I think it was the day after, actually. The day after Rin's codeine high. They'd go to a field. Actually, I could probably show it off here, right? Did they show it off? No, they didn't. Okay. A field, and Hiseo said it again, and Rin said about the same thing that we did. Rin's gonna do the exhibition. We'll have to see how that exhibition goes. There's a lot of character development in one act. This is the longest route in the entire game, with 44 scenes, so... Alright. Act 3, Distance. 22nd corner. I asked you a question, Nakai. I shake my head to fend off the dazedness. The teacher's looking at me, as is everyone else in the class. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What's the distance between... Never mind, different question. Why are you here, in this class? To, learn about physics? Yes, well, no, that's the answer I wanted to hear. To acquire knowledge is the secondary reason for you being in this school. The primary one is to learn the rules of society, the norms and ethics that govern your everyday life. You don't come to school for the classes, you come to interact with the other people there, your classmates who are your equals, and the teachers who are your superiors. You learn how to form social contacts and maintain them. In other words, how to be part of society. The school itself is a microcosm of the entire society. Locke was the one who realized that, you know. School's not just a place for learning, and all the kids your age, you guys should know that better than anyone else. He pauses for a moment and lets his eyes sweep over the class to see if the message sinks in. At the very least, it shut everyone up and got them to focus on him, captivated either by his voice or the sudden change of topic from physics to the philosophy of education. However, my classes, as you so aptly put, are a place for learning about physics. He points at me with a piece of chalk he's holding. So, no sleeping during class. Got it, Nakai? Yes, sir. From the corner of my eye, I catch Shizune's scowl and Misha's barely contained giggle. I sink deeper into my seat. After classes end, I'm the last one to leave the classroom. I close the door behind me and quietly make my way to the art room. Club time passes in relative peace and quiet. I sit in my usual seat next to Rin, but she doesn't seem to be in a talkative mood. She's even more distant than usual. Today we're going to draw still life, and get to choose from either a vase full of fake flowers, or an arrangement of rocks, sticks, and canvas. The teacher encourages us to gather around the preferred motif, emphasizing perspective, texture, and lighting as the key points of this exercise. I look at Rin to see if she prefers one or the subject over the other, but she just tilts her head, signifying nothing. Oh no! Fuck. No CGs or anything. Oh my god, that's the second time I've done that I've made that mistake. Oh. Nothing actually crazy happened, I'm sorry. It was pretty black. I can just see. So just all this. Oh, that was Act 2. Okay. I'm not going to read it again because I did read it. You just have to kind of... I was saying what was being said. Yeah. Require knowledge. I believe I forgot you can't go forward. Alright. The teacher encourages us to gather around the preferred motif, emphasizing perspective, texture, and lighting as the key points of this exercise. I look at Rin to see if she prefers one of the subjects over the other, but she just tilts her head, signifying nothing. The club members quickly shuffle their chairs around the classroom to get close to either the vase or the clutter. Rin and I both pick the flower vase, but only one of us seems to do any work. She's ignoring Nomiya's assignment, just like she suddenly started ignoring me, and has begun doodling something idly with her foot, not really even looking at what she's drawing. I try to catch her gaze, but she's not looking. But she's looking out the window. It's making me uneasy. Rin almost looks like she's asleep with the way she's leaning back against the chair, with her legs resting easily on the desk. She's now completely given up on the drawing. The more I try to relax, ignore her, and just be myself, the more it feels like I should ask if something's wrong. After club activities are over, and the others have filed out, Rin gets up from her seat and marches over to Nomiya with unusual determination. I will do it. Nomiya, who is humming to himself while sorting a box of pencils by hardness, turned around with a mixed expression of friendliness and incomprehension on his face. What will you do, my girl? Ugh. The gallery person. I can talk with that person. At least yesterday I thought I could. And today, too. I think I want to try it. I'm going to go all the way. The widest smile I've ever seen on any person's face lights up the teacher's features. He is almost literally beaming. Oh, wonderful. I had almost lost hope. Such a hard-headed girl you are, but I knew that sooner or later you'd understand as well. I will call my good friend Sayonji and arrange a meeting. You'll need to show her your work so she can estimate it. I've told her about you, but obviously you should talk face-to-face. This is so exciting, isn't it? Nomiya is talking more to himself than to us, and walking in circles around his desk, waving his hands around wildly all the while. He picks up his cell phone from the breast pocket of his jacket and flips it open with a stylish movement, starting to look for the number to call. While he searches, he notices me staring and gives me a beaming thumbs up. I shrug back at him, doing my best to not look smug. Nomiya finds the number and makes the call, turning away from us and lowering his voice once it goes through. Even so, I can hear his excited tone. The call doesn't last long. Fabulous! Say is at the gallery right now, and she said we could stop by right away if that's fine. This is most excellent. Do you have some kind of portfolio to show, Rin? She just shakes her head at the question. Never fear, I've taken some photos of your paintings. We can bring those and maybe a couple originals with us. Those will be quite sufficient for now. Was that? Okay. There should be some recent ones around here in the back, right? He pulls out a folder full of photos out of a desk drawer, then charges towards the back where there's a small storage room and extra cabinets for all the materials and tools the art classes and club use. He soon finds what he was looking for and crudely wraps two of Rin's paintings in some brown packing paper. Nagai, would you carry these to my car? I pick up the two oil paintings. They aren't heavy, but they do make navigation somewhat cumbersome as I follow Nomiya and Rin to the parking lot. Nomiya has a pretty nice car, not something I'd expect a high school teacher to drive. I wonder what kind of salaries they earn at Yamaku. The canvases are stuffed into the trunk where they just barely fit. At the teacher's overenthusiastic prompting, I get in the car along with them. Rin answers my questioning stare with a confirming nod and a nonchalant shrug. I guess I've become some sort of assistant for her now. Nomiya doesn't go light on the pedal. The smooth ride takes just about 10 minutes to bring us to the city center, where we pull into a tiny parking lot and get out of the car. I pick up the paintings again, looking around. It's just like any city in Japan, really. Same style of buildings, people hurrying here and there, office workers sweating in their suits in the summer heat. Wide, tree-lined streets aren't something you see everywhere, though. Maybe they are this city's specialty. It definitely has that feel of a city, which I thought I had already forgotten. I feel immediately comfortable walking around. I haven't actually been here before. No, in that case, it's about time. It's a great city, lots of wonderful folk around here, and most important of all, a vibrant cultural life. Sei's place is just around the corner. His voice is becoming like Jigoro's. 22nd corner. After turning around 3 more corners, Nomiya stops in front of a door. There is a nameplate in big red letters over it. 22nd corner. Is this really the 22nd corner? Of what? That's bothering me too. I mean, where to start counting? And in which way do you count? Rin gets worked up over the strangest things. Unlike me, Nomiya ignores her completely and pushes the door open. The gallery is very clean looking, and the air conditioning makes it cool and very comfortable. The white walls and big windows facing onto the busy street make the whole place feel airy and bright. There's nobody around whom I can see, however. Most of the floor space is empty, with only a few large tables and a counter for furniture. There are paintings too, of course. A poster advertised an exhibition for an artist I've never heard of. Most of his work seem to be portraits or landscapes done in a more traditional style than Rin's abstraction. Summoned by the bell on the door, a lady who looks maybe around Nomiya's age comes in from around the corner. She's dressed in a sharp suit, her straight dark hair in a perfect ponytail behind her head. A pair of flashy, expensive-looking eyeglasses frame her eyes. On second glance, I'm not so sure of her age anymore. She looks old, and yet not actually old. Say, hello! She clearly recognizes the teacher, greeting him warmly. Oh, there you are, Shinichi. And so quickly. I take it that these two are your students. Indeed, let me introduce you. This is Rin Tezuka, the one I spoke to you about, and the healthy-looking lad over there is Hisao Nakai. She takes a long, hard look at both of us, especially Rin. It feels like we're being evaluated, that a worth of some abstract kind is being calculated for us. Her eyes linger for a long time on Rin, on her eyes, her empty sleeves tied in knots, her posture. Sei takes her first impression of Rin with an intensity I've not seen used by anyone else before. Once finished, she smiles amiably. Pleased to meet you both. My name is Sai Saniji, and I am the owner of this gallery. Could I maybe offer you some tea? Oh, no thank you, we're fine. Let's get down to business. I lay the paintings on a tabletop to give the gallery owner a better view, and Nomiya pulls out his folder of photos. The old lady studies Rin's work carefully, absent-mindedly brushing her cheek with her finger while letting her gaze sweep over the paintings. Her eyes remind me of a bird of prey of some sort. They're so sharp and somehow very calculating. She takes her time, slowly going over the paintings in order without uttering a single word. Even the teacher looks very nervous. He tries to point out certain details and other things about Rin's work, but it seems like she's not listening. While Nomiya and I keep looking at Sei, trying to look for some hint of a reaction on the gallery owner's face, Rin lets her gaze wander around the gallery space. Suddenly she pipes up. Is this really the 22nd corner? Sei raises her gaze from the paintings to look at Rin, but doesn't answer. It's probably for the best. She takes stock of Rin's slouchy posture and her dreamy eyes that are again moving restlessly about. The way Rin seems to be detached from a situation that's supposed to be very important for her annoys me just a little. I'm practically holding my breath here. After Sei has gone through all of Nomiya's photos and inspected the 2 oil paintings I hauled here, she goes through all of the material again, this time at a quicker pace. Finally, she gives her verdict. I like it. Though, if you don't mind me saying, you're still a bit immature. Searching for your own direction, perhaps? She picks up one of the photos. Still, just look at this. I just can't take my eyes off it. Like a little kitten playing around. That's what your art makes me feel, young lady. Thank you, I think. Nobody has ever said that before, I think. That's all that Rin has to say. Something about what the gallery owner says and how she says it makes it sound patronizing to me, but I hold my tongue. Anyway... What a wonderful imagination, though, isn't it? I've always said that Tezuka has a great eye for composition and color harmony. And technique. Remember, all these are done with her feet. Of course, we need to put some of the simpler ones on display, too, for the lay people, right, Sei? The teacher snorts derisively. You know how those Philistines are. What do they understand about real art? They'd just be at a loss with the abstractions and themes here. But it'll generate more publicity, and that's good, isn't it? Sei smiles gently at Nomiya's remark and turns back to the paintings. I wonder. To tell you the truth, I just don't know if all this makes an exhibition. Even if I like it, I don't get the feel of a theme, of cohesion. There is no OhaHyou, and really, who would expect such from a young artist like this kitten here? Oh, no, it's definitely doable. Especially if you get a few new pieces and touch up some old ones. I don't mind painting more. I'll do anything. It's a bit of a stretch. Trust me, I wouldn't have come to you if I didn't believe Tezuka was ready. You can see it too, can't you? I know exactly what her kind is capable of, and you know too. Those words give the galleryist lady a pause. A hollow, bottomless look takes over her eyes for a moment, as if she was looking through or maybe past Nomiya. She says nothing, but her mouth becomes a tight, flat line, as if stretched. Finally, the moment passes. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm saying. Sei sighs and takes a few steps, walking in a circle as to help organize her thoughts. She takes another look at the photo of the painting she particularly liked, the one that made her call Rin a kitten. She places her hand over her mouth, lost for words. After a few moments, she shakes her head. There's something there. There's something that's going unsaid. Wow, that does actually pick up. That was my water bottle. Swishing the water around in it. I don't know what to say. After seeing you, dear, and these paintings of yours, would you excuse us for a moment? I want to talk to your teacher in private for a bit. Sei draws the art teacher aside and they talk in hushed tones for a while. I can't hear what they're saying, but over her shoulder I can see the lines around the corners of her mouth tighten as she motions with her hand in time with her words. The expression on her face is... What kind of expression is it? I couldn't say. Once they're done discussing whatever they had to discuss, they give one another a serious look. I feel something that goes beyond mere words transpiring there. They walk back to us. Sei looks seriously at Rin, her left hand reaching as if instinctively towards a pack of cigarettes that's lying on the table. She picks the pack up and extracts one, looking at it absent-mindedly as if only now realizing she did so, and puts it back. Finally, she locks eyes with Rin, evaluating her once more. All right, little kitten, I'm going to believe in you. I will display your paintings in here, but from what I can see, this is not enough. You don't really have a cohesive theme, and you don't have enough of the good stuff. You're going to have to work hard to actually get something that we can put on exhibit here. I know. It's a good thing my gallery is so small, no? Rin already spends pretty much every free waking moment she has painting. How is it possible to work any harder? She'd have to skip classes to do more than she already does. How can anyone work that much? Silence falls in the gallery after my words. Sei looks at the art teacher, who is looking contemplatively at his star student. I look at all three of them, confused. It's doable. What do you mean? I mean the school is special. The board puts great value on things such as this. I'm sure I could arrange some leave for her. It's not unprecedented by any means. I'll discuss it with her parents too, but they've been quite supportive. However, it might be a bit of a stretch to get a working space for her at the school if she's not actually going to attend classes. Actually, I was thinking about this before. Do you use the place upstairs for anything? No, I don't. Haven't since back then. It's more like a landfill than an atelier now. Upstairs? I own a small atelier apartment on the top floor of this building, but it hasn't been in use for... Goodness, it's been so long, hasn't it? Her eyes leap to Nomiya, who has a strange, muted expression on his face. Indeed. Do you think... Even Nomiya in all his brashness has trouble coming straight out with the question. Sei, of course, sees through him and throws up her hands, sighing deeply. I guess I can't say no, can I? Very well, I'll lend you the use of that place as well, if needed. It's not like I really use it. Excellent, I knew I could count on you. Don't celebrate yet. It really is a mess, so don't be shocked when you first see it. However, you can use it as you see fit. Since it's an atelier, it already has easels and things like that. You'll only need your own tools and materials, and to somehow clean it up a bit. It's not habitable, though, so I can't let you live there. I doubt your school or parents would allow that in any case. Okay. However, it's convenient to crash there overnight if necessary. I won't mind. Ah, most excellent, isn't it, Tezuka? He enthusiastically pats Rin on the shoulder, laughing in relief and happiness as if all the good fortune landed on him personally. Sei smiles as well, perhaps more amused by the old teacher's glee than anything else. Oh, dear Shinichi, this really is like back then. Are you sure we all haven't bitten off more than we can chew? She looks at Rin, who seems to be oddly subdued despite all this. I hope it will be worth it, kitten. She holds out her hand as if to shake Rin's, but realizes the impossibility and quickly moves to pat her on the shoulder. Rin looks back at her silently, her eyes serious and impenetrable like the dark of the night. She's gonna do it. She got accepted. There's a lot going unsaid, though. A whole lot. Boomp, boomp. Rin applies for, and thanks to Nomiya pressuring the principal, I'm sure, is granted leave for the rest of the term for exceptional extracurricular activities. She has to make up for it during summer vacation, but it seems she doesn't mind. Rin will still be able to eat and sleep at school, of course. She just doesn't have to go to classes. I'm not entirely sure if I envy her or not. It all makes me feel anxious somehow. It's the last day of school for Rin. I feel like I should send her off with a word of encouragement, or at least say something. It was sort of due to my influence that she decided to dive headfirst into this, after all. My class ends a good 20 minutes early, so I walk down to the lobby and buy a can of juice, then sit down on a bench and wait for Rin. I pull out a novel from my bag and search for the place where I was. Time stretches comfortably over the warm afternoon, while I idly sip my orange juice and read a few chapters of the book. The plot doesn't seem to advance at all, but it's all the same for me. The bell rings to end the school day and students shuffle to club meetings or outside. Nobody notices me, sitting on the bench with my nose in the novel. I keep watch for Rin, but I don't see her familiar face or red-tinted hair passing by. I check my watch 20 minutes past the end of class, when the lobby has all but emptied of people again. Even Rin should have already managed to get out of class, but either I missed her walking by, or she never came downstairs. Perhaps she went to the art club room for some last-minute things instead, or got held back by her strict homeroom teacher. I haven't really waited that long, but having grown tired of it already, I decide to go and find her myself. I stuff my book back in my bag, and throw the now empty juice can in a trash bin, and climb upstairs. The hallway is eerily quiet, as there's no club rooms apart from the art room nearby. I check there first, but not even the teacher is in. Coming back towards the stairwell, I quietly knock on the door of 3-4, and push the door open to peek in. Yellow sunbeams cross the classroom, falling across the floor. The dust and chalk floating slowly in the air makes the light almost palpable. The entire room bathes in the gentle light shining through the windows, washing the shadows away. Only one person is inside the classroom. Rin sits in what I assume is her seat, next to the window in the third row. Her head rests against the desk. I wonder if she slept through it all. Apparently not even Emmy had the heart, or maybe the capability, to wake her up. I close the door quietly. Walking past the neat, even rows of desks, I go over to where she sits. Rin? My mouth is suddenly so dry that the word comes out as a tiny whisper. She doesn't answer, so I set my bag down on the floor next to hers and lean over her to look at her face. Rin's eyes are peacefully closed, the long eyelashes projecting thin shadows onto her cheeks. Her mouth is slightly open, letting me hear the quiet sound of her breathing. Her usually messy hair is even more so today, lying in complete disarray over half of her face and forehead. Her bag is lying at her feet like a forgotten rag doll. A few books and pens have fallen out of it near her seat. The scene makes me smile a little. I touch Rin's head lightly, sweeping a few stray hairs off her hair. Her hair feels warm against my palm. Rin stirs and I retract my hand on reflex, feeling embarrassed for touching her so casually. She looks so vulnerable, like any sleeping person. It's impossible not to feel fondness towards her. I sit on the desktop of whoever's in front of Rin, then draw the window slightly open to get some more fresh air in. Hopefully it will wake her up, and I won't need to resort to cruder methods. She doesn't wake up, but I didn't really expect her to. Looking at her makes me feel tired as well, to be honest. I wouldn't mind a quick nap either, but I content myself with leaning against the back window. The glass is warm against my ear and cheek as the windows face west towards the setting afternoon sun. That afternoon light is slowly melting into Rin's auburn hair, softening her outline so that she seems to be fading into her surroundings. The minute twitches of her muscles, her hair swaying in the air current, the even rhythm of her breathing, it all gives a strong impression of a dreaming girl. Like all sleeping people, Rin looks like she is away from this world, in some distant dream country. With her, it doesn't feel so obvious that she would ever come back. She seems so detached from her surroundings even when she's awake. In fact, she has this same kind of air around her when... The realization hits my consciousness without warning. Rin sometimes looks like that when she's painting. Her focused expression gives the same feeling of being on the other side of some imaginary gap as looking at her sleeping face does. I feel a pain in my chest. There's no way I can close that gap to be on the same level with her. It hurts, even though I know that it's impossible for any two people to truly understand each other. But Rin, she's almost literally in another world when she's talking about art, thinking about art, or making art. It's a world that I, or anyone else really, can't share with her, just like the world of dreams. Rin still doesn't show any sign of waking up, so I'm faced with the decision to either rouse her myself, or wait for her to awaken on her own. I choose the latter. Waiting is something I am good at. I found that out during my hospitalization, but even the hospital ward was more lively than the school after classes are over. The only sounds in this place are the loud ticking of the clock above the door and the distant voices of the students down on the grounds. A genuine summer breeze blows inside from the window I cracked open, full of warmth and carrying the scent of light. I look outside to see where it came from, but I'm dazzled almost instantly. The window glass seems to trap all the sunlight within, making it painful to look that way. All I can glimpse through the window are the dark silhouettes of the trees and the wall around the campus against the setting sun's radiance. As I turn back to watch Rin, she stirs again. A single tear worms down from the corner of her eye, slowly making its way across her face before it falls onto the desk. It's tiny, barely a droplet, but it captivates me. Another tear follows, first, and then a third. A feeling of anxiety overcomes me, petrifying me on the spot. It's so strange, seeing Rin's face peaceful as she sleeps, at the same time as tears stream down her cheeks, wetting the wooden desktop she rests her head on. I don't know what to do, so I do nothing, and just watch the tears roll one by one down her face. I wonder what she's dreaming about. Rin wakes up after one final flinch, or perhaps because of the tears. She sits upright and yawns so excessively it looks like her jaw might dislocate. She notices my presence, but her reaction is more like the lack of any reacting at all. It's just an acknowledgement, no startled gasp or anything. Hello. Good morning. She's so groggy she can't even return my smile that I somehow can't stretch to be entirely honest. Rin notices her wet cheeks and quickly wipes them on the shoulders of her shirt. It seems she isn't at all surprised or flustered by them. You cried in your sleep. A bad dream? No, it's nothing like that. It's something I've learned to do. From other people. It's a funny story. I'll tell you later. On second thought, not really that funny at all. I guess I won't tell you. Did you want something, or did you just come watch me sleep? I wanted to see you after classes. Oh, well it's after classes now, and I am seeing you right here. Yeah, I just wanted to say good luck or something. I figure the upcoming weeks are going to be a lot of work for you. Thanks. Rin yawns again and blinks a few times. I feel weird. Didn't really sleep much last night at all. Butterflies in your stomach? What? No. I mean, yes. I know what that means. Butterflies. Don't really feel so good now. You'll be fine. You are so confident. Someday it will bite you in the ear. I'll look forward to it. I think I have to go. I promised Mrs. Saionji that I'd go there straight after school, and now is after school. Is it okay if I come by sometime? I'm guessing you're planning to work long hours, so if you prefer to avoid distractions... It's okay. It's not a distraction. Not like Emmy. Don't bring her with you, though. I wouldn't like that this time. I told her to stay away. I see. All right, then. Rin stands up silently walks to the door, with me following behind. The school's empty hallways, devoid of the usual crowd of students, feel very lonely. It's only a few hours since school ended, but the building seems to be all but deserted. Our footsteps are all that intrudes upon the stillness of the hallways. The change is sudden, but it shows how the building is just an empty shell, dead without its students and teachers to liven it up. It's like the school has become a private world for just the two of us, a desolate place filled with silence and chalk dust. I am going to change. She says this out of the blue while we walk down the stairs from the 3rd floor, and it makes me wonder how she views this challenge that lies ahead of her. It's what people must do, sometimes. It's the last thing we say to each other that day, even though there's so much that we could talk about. And even those words drown in an all-encompassing silence, disappearing into the stagnant air as if they were never said. I wonder if Emmy's the one she learned about crying in her sleep from. Wouldn't surprise me. That was all. I had forgotten how nice that scene was. I did say that one of my favorite scenes in the entire game that is not an ending shows up in this act, and that was not it, but that is a very nice one. No, right now, things you can't give up. Okay, alright. Just checking over. Rin's route, more than usual, has a lot of interesting changes to it. 1 second as well. Rin's route twists and turns, and it's an interesting one. There's a lot of choices that affect other choices that then affect the ending, so... The next Monday is marked by a strange emptiness that grips me, caused by the knowledge that I won't be able to see Rin whenever I want to anymore. This hollow feeling's a little bit disconcerting, but I make it to the afternoon all the same. My last class is, in a word, terrible. It's not that the lesson is that bad. It is, however, boring, and it's so hot in the classroom that I feel like I'm melting. The air conditioner is either broken or turned off, so the windows are open. It makes no difference since the air outside is completely still. Only the chirping of cicadas carries inside. The sweltering heat permeates the room. Students and teachers alike are in an almost delirious state. I just want to stand up and walk out of here without caring what the teacher or anyone else says. I can see I'm not the only one with these thoughts too. Next to me, Misha is shamelessly holding her skirt up a bit and fanning air in with her notebook. Only Shizune seems to be as cool as always, sitting with her back perfectly straight, arms folded on her chest, her eyes fixed on the equations scrawled on the blackboard. They keep shooting yearning glances at my watch, but it doesn't help the time go by any faster. It's funny, I remember how badly I wanted to get out of the hospital and go back to school. Oh. Neck cracks. Now all I can think of is the upcoming summer vacation, and freedom from classes and homework. Perhaps it's human nature to think of only the situation at hand. Finally, the bell rings. Relieved, my classmates and I burst out into the hallway, already crowded by students from our neighboring classes. I spot Emmy's diminutive figure nearby and walk up to her. Hey there. She smiles sweetly, clearly happy to see me. Yukihyou, what's up? Is your classroom super hot too? Yeah, it is. I thought I was gonna melt in there. Nothing else is really happening though. Feeling a bit weird now that Rin's on her great adventure, or whatever you want to call it. Emmy's face cracks in a wider smile, and she jumps up and down enthusiastically. Isn't it great? I'm so happy for her. I bet everyone will like your paintings and she'll sell a lot of them and make piles of money. Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out great. I'm totally sulking at her though. She huffs angrily and places her hands firmly on her hips, even letting a little anger seep into her voice. It doesn't quite have the impact she's probably hoping for, but I say nothing. Why's that? She said that she doesn't want me to go see her. Oh, yeah, she mentioned that. I guess she prefers to not be distracted. I can understand that. I don't think I'm that much of a distraction. Besides, I'm sure she'll forget about sleeping and eating properly if someone's not there telling her to do it. Sometimes she's like that. Gets completely fixated on whatever and drops everything else. It really makes me worried, you know. Is she gonna be alright? Such friendship. I wonder if she thinks I'm annoying. I'm pretty sure that's not the case at all. Emmy shakes her head, looking amused. I'm not sure if she's joking or not. She has these weird ideas about a lot of stuff. Things just make sense to her in a totally different way than they do to me. I can't even remember all the weird stuff she's talked about over all this time. I don't think Rin does either, really. She's just the type who would forget her own head if it wasn't attached to her shoulders. That's why I just can't leave her alone. Is that weird? She leans against the wall, managing to look distraught, yet still cheerful as always. I get a strange feeling about it, as though I were talking to two people at the same time. Now what I know. Everyone's weird in some way, but if that's yours, it's a very nice way. At least I can understand what you're talking about, like Rin. Most of the time, I have no idea about what's going on inside her head either. Emmy giggles, nodding in agreement. I think it's okay, even if you don't understand her. That's how she usually is. Emmy stands up straighter, brushing the hem of her skirt and straightening the waistline. She laughs awkwardly. Now, wow, we ended up talking pretty seriously. What's up with you, Yukihyou? Why'd you bring this up? Oh, sorry, I didn't really mean to get into this sort of discussion either. I don't know, I've had this weird feeling lately about Rin. I don't know why. I feel a bit guilty bringing up something like this for no reason except my own anxiety. It'll be fine, don't worry about it. Suddenly Emmy clutches my wrist and twists it so she can see what time it is from my watch. Oh damn, this late already? Should really go, there's a meeting with the rest of the track team at the field. It's not gonna be fun in this heat. I'm gonna sweat like pigs, but I promised I'd be there. But she skips downstairs, leaving me wondering if what I said, or what Rin said rather, hurt her or not. Maybe what Emmy herself said hurt her the most, come to that. So in the end, even the person closest to Rin is just as far apart from her as everyone else. I wonder if Rin herself ever feels that distance. I felt like I was drifting away from the world too, during my hospitalization. I felt anxious and depressed, and even now I sometimes still do. But I fight against it with all I've got. If Rin has been on that side of the divide for her whole life, I can't imagine how she could not be lonely. But perhaps she's truly different. I refuse to belong to that other place, but maybe she's found comfort there. Like Emmy, I have a club meeting of my own, so I head straight to the art club room at the end of the hallway. Only a few members are present today, so the mood's even more laid back than usual. Rin is off working on her exhibition project, but I wonder if the rest are simply just playing hooky, defeated by the heat. I half-assedly sketch something with a piece of graphite, but do a poor job of it. My fingertips are turning pitch black from holding the graphite and smudging it on the paper, accidentally and on purpose. I've improved a little, but Rin's level is still far beyond my reach. Eventually, Nomiya comes in and makes his way around the room, checking on what we're doing and giving comments on the works in progress. He stops behind me and bends closer to look at my poor sketch. Tried to take a few pointers from Tezuka, have you? Well, I've looked at how she draws, but I haven't exactly asked for advice, no. Let's see here. He casually picks up the piece of graphite from my hand and lightly draws some faint, barely visible lines over my sketch to illustrate places that need improvement. I already feel frustrated about not seeing the obvious flaws before, but with a couple of careless-seeming flicks of the wrist, Nomiya has made them plain as day. Straightening up, he throws a sideways glance at the seat where Rin usually sits. Such a nostalgic feeling, almost like a bird flying from the nest. I'll miss Tezuka when she graduates. Begins from here, you know. Nearly makes my eyes a little misty. Do you really think she has a chance to make her big break with the exhibition? Nomiya turns and looks up from my sketch, adjusting his glasses. He rubs his chin, looking contemplative. Why not? Not like she's going to be an overnight smash hit or anything, but getting the word out there is very important. Connections are pure gold. Maybe the most important thing to gain if she has to become an artist. Word of mouth is very powerful in these circles. She has some advantages, like her young age and technique. You know, the feat. People will be naturally curious about extraordinary things like that. His words have an unpleasant ring to them. Isn't that just exploiting her disability to make her more popular? Sounds fishy. Ah, now, it's not like that at all. Think of it from another perspective, like an artist. Would you rather have Tezuka hide herself completely from public view, as if her condition were something shameful? Some people will call it exploitation if we promote that aspect, or discrimination if we hide it. All considered, we're just being honest about it. There's nothing wrong with that, right, my boy? I guess so. Brilliant. It's true that disability always had all sorts of implications in society, often nasty ones, but brushing things under the carpet won't help at all. I'm sure Sei will handle her side of the issue with delicacy. I've known her since art school, and she's most reliable. Why is she going so far for Rin's sake? Because it's you who asked? Oh, she has her own reasons too. Trust this old man, she's more kind-hearted than she looks. But don't let her know I said that. He gives me a big wink and covers his mouth with his hand, as if to push the remark back in. I remember the curious way Miss Saionji looked at Rin almost the entire time during our visit to the gallery. It was like that woman was trying to imprint everything about her into her memory. Or maybe it was that Rin reminded her of something else. Mostly Sei simply adores young people with a passion for art. Her gallery specializes in this very thing, bringing up-and-coming talent to the public. It's a perfect fit for someone like Tezuka. I don't even know if she really wants to become a career artist, though. But I guess that'd be the logical next step. I don't have the faintest idea. Like they say, a teacher can only show the door. It's the student who has to walk through it. An old tired saying, but still quite true. He leaves to chat with a pair of second-year girls working on some watercolors. Even though he said that cliched thing, it feels to me like Nomiya is trying to prod Rin through a certain door in particular. But I can't blame him for that. I literally shove Rin towards that door, with my speeches about wasting opportunities and whatnot. Nomiya feels like it's time for him to let Rin test her own wings. He has absolute confidence in this endeavor. I wonder why I can't shed the anxious feeling I have inside of me. It shouldn't have anything to do with me. Maybe I'm just bothered by exactly that. I really don't have any part in this. I would like to be a part of Rin's life. And her a part of mine. Like friends should be. That's what she called us. I wonder what she really meant. I feel like I'm so far apart from her, even when I'm not. It's the same as with Rin and Emmy. I can't understand her. What am I for her? Oh. So, this is actually an interesting scene, because rose-tinted glasses only shows up if you made the decision to say, I think you'd be a big hit during Act 2. Otherwise, this scene becomes badan. But this is rose-tinted glasses. And the correct answer is I want to understand her. Okay. In the end, even though we made friends with each other, I don't really feel that we've gotten any closer. How could I call someone my friend if I can't understand her? Nomiya's boisterous laugh fills the quiet afternoon. Just as the club meeting ends, he pats one of the girls on the back encouragingly. I think about all the things that have led me to this point, all the things I've shared with Rin during the few weeks I've been at Yamaku so far. I understand so very little in the end, but I'm sure of one thing. If I want to keep going what I have with Rin, I have to throw myself into whatever will come out of this exhibition project, along with her. I turn my gaze back to the black mess of a sketch and the near-invisible guiding lines the teacher drew over it. No pattern emerges, nothing that could take me further than I am. I put the graphite down on the table and think hard and honestly about what I really want. The edge of the world. The next day, I take the bus into the city. It goes twice an hour, starting in the morning, passing by the front gate of Yamaku at 20 minutes past and 10 to the hour. The ride takes considerably longer than the one Nomiya gave us in his car. I slowly read a book as the bus makes its rounds through the suburbs, pausing at almost every stop to pick up someone or let them out. Eventually, we make it to the last stop at the city center. The city is fair-sized, but not too large, and seems too quiet. Nevertheless, I enjoy the atmosphere. Despite being slightly directionally challenged, I find my way from the bus station to the gallery without too much effort, and soon find myself staring at the big letters saying 22nd Corner. Inside, the gallery owner is intently studying a large painting hanging on the wall, a portrait of an old man. Good afternoon. She turns around to look at me, and a smile of recognition spreads on her lips. Oh, aren't you the young man from the other day? Shinichi student Hiseo, was it? That's right. Good afternoon, Miss Sayonji. Please, just sigh. I don't want to feel any older than I am. You know, I'm so glad that even young people show interest in art nowadays. It's so refreshing. What brings you here? Surely you aren't just on a courtesy visit all the way from your school. I actually came for Rin. I was hoping to see how she's doing. Oh, is that right? Well, then you need to step back outside. You see, the atelier is actually at the next door on the right down the street, and up the stairwell. Just climb the stairs to the top floor. There's only one door there, you can't miss it. I give Sei my thanks, exit the gallery, and locate the door she was talking about. It leads to a dark stairwell, which reminds me of the stairs leading to the rooftop of the school building. I wonder if they're the same ones. I wonder if they reused the background image. I wonder if they did that. They might have. I think they did. I have no clue how the whispering sounds on the mic. I hope nobody with headphones is completely creeped out by that. The stairs are steep, and even though it's only 5 floors, my breathing gets heavy before I reach the top. An unassuming wooden door waits for me there. It's unlocked, so I knock and enter. The atelier is really just one big room, with the ceiling lower at one end than the other because the roof of the building is gabled. There is a huge skylight in the ceiling that acts as the main source of light for the room, bringing in sunlight that reflects off the white painted walls. I suppose it's good to use natural light for art. There isn't much in the way of interior decoration. No surprise, since the room seems to have been used as storage for a while. All kinds of boxes and office furniture are scattered around the place. The room is dusty since it's not been in use for a while. I can see that someone has made some effort to clean up a little, but it's far from immaculate. Rin stands in the middle of the room with her back to me, staring at a half-painted canvas placed on an easel. Not working on it, just staring, unmoving. She wears what must be second or third-hand denim overalls over the standard school uniform shirt, much like the one I'm wearing. They look pretty worn and are covered in paint spatters. From the way they seem to be loose or tight in places, I'm guessing that they weren't originally Rin's. Hi. Hello. Rin doesn't judge my showing up as worthy of turning around, saying maybe something more than just a mechanical reply to my greeting, smiling, anything. She keeps on doing whatever it is she's doing. Probably some weird creative thing inside her head. Perhaps I should have expected as much. Still, I make another attempt at conversation. This is a pretty cool place. Big, too. It is. Sai said I can use this as much as I like. I even have my own key. So how's the work going? She doesn't answer for a while. I begin to wonder if she's already forgotten the question. As a cloud drifts over the building, shadowing the light pouring in from the skylight, the change in Rin's surroundings seems to wake her up. I don't know. It's like a huge ball. I don't really know which side is the right one. It's really huge. It's the hugest thing ever. Like a mountain growing inside of me. Like I swallowed a mountain whole. It's going to be hard, I think. Really, very hard. I try to listen for undercurrents of stress or uncertainty in her voice, but I don't pick up anything like that. Why are you here? Her tone is not as unkind as the directness of the question would make it seem. Well, you said that it'd be fine if I came to visit, so here I am. I guess it's not for any real reason, but I thought you might like some company or assistance, or maybe some hiseo. Can you be quiet for about 15 minutes? Maybe 10 is enough. 5 definitely is not. You can talk afterwards. Her tone is sharp, nothing like I've ever heard from her before. There is no command, no annoyance, no anger. But her voice pierces me all the same. All right. With the silence that falls, anxiety creeps back into my heart. I wonder if it was a mistake to come here. Murmurs of traffic filter in from outside, and I start to feel more and more uncomfortable. All my thoughts keep finding themselves returning to certain things that have been swirling relentlessly in the back of my mind for some time now. I feel like those thoughts will surface out of the tempestuous sea of my mind, whether I want it or not. Desperate to divert my focus, I fix it on Rin's back as my mind races. I don't think I've ever studied anyone's back so intently before. Her neck, hidden by copper-colored hair, which, again, in complete disarray. That relaxed yet rigid posture, reminding me that Rin's physical appearance often tends to be as awkward as her various trains of thought. Those gaunt, delicate shoulder blades, visible through the thin white fabric of her shirt. The contours of her hips, curving down to her thin thighs. It pisses me off. Rarely does she ever seem to be looking at me, whether literally or figuratively. I, on the other hand, am always watching her back, both literally and figuratively. Whenever she is painting, whenever something catches her fluttery attention, whenever I don't forcefully make her listen to me, I can't reach through to her. Rin's heart is uncharted territory, dangerous waters, the blank areas on a map. The edge of the world? If I went too close, I wonder if I would fall off. What do I think of her? Sometimes she's aloof and distant, and it annoys me. At other times, her passion for the thing she thinks worthwhile shines through, and it inspires me. I can't understand her. Still, I like her, and consider her my friend. I suppose part of friendship is putting up with the oddities of the people you call friends. I have to admit, there's a lot of putting up with Rin. What does she think of me? I have no idea. Last week I thought she might have liked me romantically. What with a kiss and I'll stop reading into it. She was high on codeine, hiseo. Stop. It forced me to ponder my own feelings too. This week, I am utterly confused. What would she do if I told her I liked her that way? I wonder if I really do. I can't make sense of even my own thoughts anymore. It must be contagious. Even if I said a thing like that, would it matter? Nothing affects Rin. Nothing. Tomato Cat! Stream was long, but fun to get you didn't show up in VC. I'm still happy you popped in. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun with that. Happy belated birthday. I know it's probably not the same day anymore. Happy belated birthday again. Oh, sorry, I'm stretching my back. Yeah, sorry, today just ended up being way more confusing and complex than I thought it would be. I was basically woken up by people coming into clean bedrooms this morning, so that kind of threw everything off. I'm done. I find her turned around, now staring straight at me. It unnerves me. I try to remember what we, or rather I, were talking about before she requested a timeout. Today, my friend, I am doing great. How are you doing? I'm glad you could make it out to the stream. Oh, right. I just came to... I don't know. You still can't finish your sentences? It's not that. Fine. She retreats from the conversation, slipping away from me once again. She doesn't return to painting, but instead keeps looking at me with that empty poker face of hers. I wanted to talk about some stuff. I've thought a lot about things. What things? Like what happened last week and so on. What happened? I get the feeling she's playing with me. Why? I have no clue. It is not a game she's playing with my head. I'm pretty sure she doesn't deliberately try to screw with people. Maybe it's just my own mind playing tricks on itself. Still, Rin feels like a puzzle in the form of a girl. Decided to turn lazy after the stream, so pop and see you continue playing. I'm glad you decided to pop in. We are about a third of the way through. It's Act 3, so it's going by a little bit quickly. Could do with a little bit of a shorter stream after the 5 hours from yesterday. I feel attracted to it, compelled to solve it. The overly rational part of my brain refusing to let me give up. I can't leave her alone. I never would have believed I could be this obsessive about something. Why do I hesitate so much and keep running in circles around her? I don't have to do that. I already decided what I want to say. Rin. Saying her name with an intention like this makes my mouth dry, as if my subconscious is fighting against what I'm going to say next. I feel like I'm going to lock up any moment now. Rin looks up from her paint-covered toes and stops wriggling them, as there isn't anyone to observe them curiously now. The hard stare of her dark green eyes seemed like a portent. I like you. The lack of any reaction is like a slap to the face. So, I mean, I'd like to like you as more than a friend. What is more? The slow, hesitant words coming from between her strawberry-colored lips are not the ones I was waiting for. Neither of the two possible answers that I'd been expecting, actually. I feel myself blushing heavily, as is par for the course in this kind of situation. My heartbeat sounds like a percussion orchestra on drugs. Rin's faux innocent inquiry makes me feel like I'm being grilled over hot coals. You know, like, romantically and... No. Rin turns around, giving me the cold shoulder as she returns to looking at her painting. She makes a move to pick up her brush, which lies forgotten on the floor, but decides against it at the last moment. I can't talk about that kind of thing now. So, don't talk about that kind of thing. Please. We are friends, right? So you can do that. The silence those words leave behind is deafening. I want to say something, but my mouth refuses to move. There is no way I can retain my dignity. Rin finally picks up the brush without giving any explanation for her behavior. Maybe there was something in her voice that gave away some emotion, but I couldn't say what. Her shoulders slump melancholically as her foot works the canvas in front of her. She won't let me see her face, and I know it. feeling the weight of my heart grow heavier. I stand up to leave, for I can't stay here any longer today. It's like I have opened Pandora's box by stepping over some line that Rin didn't want me to cross, and she had to turn me down. I walk across the squeaky floor to the door leading to the stairwell. Rin's quiet voice stops me in my tracks as I'm about to open the door. Iseo? My hand, still on the brass doorknob, is waiting for me to turn it or to withdraw. Yeah? Will you come tomorrow? Yeah. The context of Rin. After a night of bad sleep, I go through the day mostly on automatic. I put on my uniform mechanically, do my schoolwork mechanically, eat my lunch mechanically, reply to teachers mechanically, and thus when the final bell rings, I still feel as if I had just woken up. My mind feels blank and overcrowded at the same time, and I can't even begin to unravel the tangle of feelings I've gotten myself into. I spend the bus trip downtown staring out of the window, thinking about these things. As a result, by the time I climb the stairs to the atelier 4 floors above Say's gallery, I'm feeling completely exhausted. Expecting awkwardness, I quietly knock on the door before entering. I spot Rin at the center of the small, clear area in the room, working on a painting. She doesn't acknowledge my arrival in any way. Hi. I came, as promised. Rin snaps her head to my direction immediately. Is she waiting for me to say something? And locks that cold green gaze of hers on me. Although I'm sure my own face can't hide my feelings, Rin's expression is as expectant and neutral as always. The clouded, slightly absent-minded darkness in her eyes is like a wall standing between me and her. It is the first awkward silence between us that is truly awkward. Yesterday, both of us said something we couldn't take back, and there's no way it can be undone. I want to say something, but Rin forbade me from doing so. I can't even begin to guess what she's thinking, but I'm feeling the pressure of her lightless eyes on me, compelling me to break the silence without saying the thing I most want to say. To my horror, I find that I can't find any way to start a conversation. It's as if I've completely lost the ability to speak with her. Just keep working if you're in the middle of something. I'll just sit down here. Rin nods wordlessly at me and picks up the brush from the floor with the toes of her right foot. I sink into a worn-out sofa, picking up a book from my bag and opening it to where I stopped last night. I can't really concentrate on it, but it's better than doing nothing. The two of us are so close to each other, together in the same room even, and yet we're both off doing our own thing as if we were miles apart. I can't help but wonder about this unnatural situation. Why did I come here? Because she asked me to do so yesterday, of course. However, it looks like there's absolutely no need for me to actually be here. It makes me feel awkward at first, but as I recall the previous silences I've quietly passed with Rin, I settle down and try to tune into that same comfortable mood I was in back then. Time stretches, then slows down. The pages of my book rustle each time I turn them. After maybe half an hour, or 1 hour at most, Rin breaks the silence, to my complete surprise. Iseo? Yeah. Are you my friend? It's an echo of yesterday, I know it. So even Rin couldn't just push it aside from her mind. Caught off guard, I answer honestly. Yeah, of course I am. Don't worry about stuff like that, come on. Okay. She doesn't say anything further. I feel happy somehow. Several chapters later, I mark my spot, close the book, and put it away in my bag. Getting up from the sofa, I see that Rin's made considerable progress on her painting. I take a look at it for a bit. It's still not quite finished, I suppose. Looks great. It's bad luck to comment on unfinished paintings. After that, I quietly leave the studio and catch the bus, taking me back to school. The context of Rin. This is Fast Forward. We are very close to my favorite non-ending scene in this entire game. Life settles into some sort of vague, undefined norm. I visit Rin whenever I can, but each time is as strange as the first. They consist of mainly me watching Rin at work, or just reading a book on the couch while she works. We barely talk at all. Long, quiet evenings stretch over the last weeks of June. I sit on the couch in the atelier, listening to the quiet rustle of Rin's brush and my own heartbeat, trying to make sense of the former and forget about the latter. Silent visitor in this place. A ghost. At some point I start thinking that my presence is meaningful to Rin somehow, but never end up asking her about it. I don't bring up the forbidden topic anymore either, and try to stop thinking about it altogether. It's hard to do so, and doesn't get any easier with the passage of time. My heart aches every time I look at the awkward figure of the girl I decided I liked, yet who refuses to acknowledge it. Adjust my mic. I still can't seem to find the right words to talk to her about anything at all, but I find quiet solace in observing her from nearby. The distance between us doesn't feel that huge when I can be close to her, even if it's like this. Rin works like a demon. There is barely a moment when she's worked without a brush between her toes, or not walking in circles around her current work in progress, estimating it from every angle and distance. She seems to be completely taken over by her will to do work, to change herself into the sort of artist she believes would be worthy of the trust Nomiya and Sei have placed in her. Piles of sketches, works in progress, tubes of oil paint and brushes slowly begin to crowd the small atelier, making it even messier than it was before Rin acquired the right to use it. I offer to help her clean up every now and then, but each time she refuses. It dawns on me that in her mind, the room is not in utter chaos. Rather, her system of keeping track of everything is so elaborate, only Rin herself can make sense of it. She knows exactly where everything is, from the tiniest brush to that half-empty tube of crimson that's the perfect shade for some picture in progress. Rin walks from one painting to another, looking at them as if not remembering that she made them. She talks to herself, or to the paintings, even when I'm present, always just quietly enough that I can't make out the words. Every day, Rin pours herself onto the canvas for hours on end, squeezing every bit of her ability and even her soul to make good on that promise she made to me, or herself. Black marks appear beneath her eyes, a sure sign that she's skipping sleep in favor of painting. I'm somewhat surprised to see her at school a few times. I never go and say hello, though, as I somehow feel it would break the silent magic of the evenings we share at the atelier. Sometimes Sei comes by when I'm there. She gives me a certain kind of look when she shows up. I think she doesn't like that I'm always hanging out with Rin up here, but she never says a word about it. She isn't quite as full of praise for Rin's work as Nomiya, but is visibly impressed nevertheless. However, she turns her eyes from the wonderful works of art to look upon the little red-headed girl that made them. A sudden, deep sadness floats onto the surface of her expression. I can't explain it, and she never talks about it. Is this? Still fast forward. June turns into July, almost without warning. End-of-term exams loom dangerously close, but all I can think of is Rin. I feel like a sleepwalker at school, looking forward only to the next time I get to visit that silent place above Sei's gallery. After Rin refuses my attempts at directly helping with her work, I try to figure out other ways to help her. It finally dawns on me that she isn't eating properly. My course of action decided, I stop at the convenience store before going to catch the bus downtown on my next visit to the studio. I feel very energetic as I open the door to the atelier and greet Rin. I brought you some fruit. You need vitamins and actual food after all. Do you even eat up here? I do eat. If I didn't eat, I couldn't paint. Then why don't you eat a couple of these? I shake the bag full of ripe oranges in my hand in a ploy to tempt Rin into taking a break. To my surprise, she actually lays her brush down and walks over to me to see what I'd brought. Her expression doesn't change at all when she looks into the bag. I can't eat oranges, Hiseo. It does not work very well with feet. That's alright. I'll do it. Of course I knew that. She told me herself, after all. I extract the tiny fruit knife I had with me and select one of the round fruits. After making the initial cut, I begin to peel it with my fingers. The strong scent of cut orange rind immediately fills the air as thousands of tiny droplets of oil burst from the skin. I remove the first section of the hard peel and shoot a glance at Rin. Tsukasa hates coffee. Hi, welcome to the stream. Glad you could make it out. I don't think I've recognized you in chat before, so I'm glad you could make it out. We're a little bit over halfway. This route. Playing the visual novel Katawa Shoujo. Developed by 4 Leaf Studios. It is about someone who is sent to a school for people with disabilities. And the story is all about him meeting these people who also have disabilities and general things like that. This is a little bit of a funny time to join in. We're 2 episodes from finishing the entire visual novel, all 5 routes. Nonetheless, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it immensely. Yes, it's super, super interesting. It is one of my favorite games of all time. I have all the VODs of my playthrough on the channel, and if you want to play it yourself, I have a download link down in my description. It's completely free to play. It's a fantastic, fantastic project. So, how's the work going? I don't know. It's like I'm in the center of some huge mountain of jelly and have to dig my way out. Must be stressful. I think it might be. Even though it's just painting, all this... everything feels really strange. I wonder if Rin is the kind of person who likes to carefully remove all the white fibrous stuff from oranges before eating them, or the more careless type who just eats them as they come. Maybe neither. I'm the former type, so I meticulously clean the orange slices one by one, while Rin watches the process with mild curiosity. I realize that I don't have the faintest idea about her likes or dislikes, or any of the other little details that make up the concept of a person for those around them. It's like in all this time, I haven't learned much about her at all. Once I've finished lamenting that fact, I realize I've cleaned the entire orange and neatly split it into slices. I hold a slice up, bring it closer to Rin so she can pick it up. Here. Like horror RPG Maker. I kind of like horror games. I don't play a bunch of them. I like psychological horror. There's not a whole bunch of those, unfortunately. RPG Maker games, I played a couple. No, I don't think I've actually played. I've maybe like 1 or 2. Yeah, not a whole lot. But I do like some horror games. Just kind of have to be... I'm not huge on just, like, monster or jump scare horror, though. So, that's my thing with the horror genre, is that it gets a little bit, my taste in it are a little bit narrow, so... She takes it directly between her lips and then into her mouth whole. Her lower lip briefly brushes against my fingertips. Rin chews the slice carefully, savoring it as much as possible. Can you recommend a game? Absolutely, I'd love to hear it. I become fixated on the movement of her jaw, the trickle of juice glistening on her lip, the way her throat moves when she swallows the orange slice. After I realize what I'm doing, I turn away, feeling embarrassed about watching her so intently. It's not the same as it usually is. The orange? Painting. Oh, well, is anything like that ever the same? It is, sometimes, I think. I don't know what, though. I might be starting to paint differently soon, if this goes on. Well, wouldn't that just be that change you keep talking about? She thinks about it, blinking her eyes a few times nervously. For a moment, absolutely nothing happens, as if time itself did a double take. Oh, I've heard about Amore, yeah. I've seen a couple of it. I've seen a fair amount of it, actually. I know Tomato Cat, who was in here earlier, has played it. It's interesting. It's certainly interesting. I have a lot of friends who really love it. I might. Games are a lot of work, yes. It is, game development's not easy. If you do pursue it, I do wish you the best of luck, though. I have a friend who has made a game before, and, she did a great job with it, so... It's definitely rewarding, but it is definitely a lot of work. For a moment, absolutely nothing happens, as if time itself did a double take. We stare at each other in silence, only that faint, tangy scent of orange floating between us and the muffled sound of traffic in the background. Then I pick up another slice and hold it to her. She takes it from me with her mouth just like the first one. Hoshiuta, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. Just learned how to draw, but yeah, still... It's alright, everybody's... It's funny, this route we're on is actually so... She's a painter. And he, our protagonist, does not know much about drawing, but he joined the art club anyway. Anybody can learn how to draw with enough time. So... Yep. Everybody was a beginner once, so... No shame in being a beginner. Then I pick up another slice and hold it to her. She takes it from me with her mouth, just like the first one. I didn't think it would be like this. Well, keep on going and see what happens. It's not like you can do anything else. Yeah, it's the only thing I can do. After that, she says nothing more. In the ensuing silence, I feed her in the rest of the orange, one slice at a time. Then I peel another for her, which she eats as well. The third I eat myself, and the rest are left in the plastic bag, which I put on a small desk next to the couch. She stands up and returns to her painting with a strange look in her eyes that I hadn't seen before. Like most of her expressions, it is completely unreadable. Even if I asked, she wouldn't explain what it means. This is my favorite scene in the entire game. That's not an ending. This game is cute. Looks like a game just for Ooh. It is very cute. It's very nice. I would not call it something that you can kind of just, chill and relax with, though. It is, very involved, very emotional, and pretty deep, to be honest. This is a, multi-hour visual novel. It's like, this is just our past save files. 10 hours, 9 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. It's not a short game at all. This is why we're on part 15. And I have multiple 6-hour stream or 5+ hour streams of this game. Some days later, it is very, yes, so the most interesting about this is the game kind of sprung up from a group of people. It started as 21 people, artists, musicians, programmers, people who know RenP, which is what this is made on, who all came together over this little webcomic about about disabled girls. And it kind of just evolved into what this is now. I'd say it's kind of a cult classic visual novel. It's about 10 years old at this point. Actually, over 10 years old, barely. Yeah, it was all made for free. All the music was made for it. All the CGs were made for it. The photos of the background were taken of actual places. The school is photos of Brown University in Pennsylvania, I think. That means nothing if you're not American, but yeah, it's just an incredible passion project, and I love it immensely. I'd love more people to that's the reason I'm even streaming it. I would love more people to just experience it. It's such a wonderful game. It has such impact on me. I kind of want to just share it to more people. Some days later, I spot Rin and Sei standing together in front of the gallery as I walk down the street toward the gallery. They seem to be talking to each other while Sei has a smoke. Good afternoon. I say this even though it's not really afternoon anymore. I came a bit later than usual since I got caught up doing homework. It's gonna be dark soon. Hello there, Iseo. Came to visit the little kitten again. Rin makes a face at the nickname. I guess she doesn't like it. Ironically, the way she wrinkles her nose like that really does make her look a little bit like a cat. Oh, my voice. Hello. Sei turns back to Rin to continue the conversation they were having. So, in other words, everything is going well enough? Rin makes a difficult expression and turns her face away from me for some reason. It's difficult. It's like I'm missing something, but I will do it. Work hard and it'll be fine. I'm going to have to start working on my part of the preparations. I need to do a sales catalog, invitations, decorations, advertisement, and so on. I need the names for your works, and you also need to think up the general theme for the exhibition. They don't have anything like that. I'm not very good with words, so I don't use them. If I cannot use them, I mean, sometimes I have to, but I think this is not a time like that at all. You don't like naming your works? I don't like it. Well, I guess it's hard to come up with a good name for something like this. Rin shakes her head vehemently. It's not like that. It's like if I paint a cloud and call it an octopus, people will think about it differently than if I paint a cloud and call it the end of the world. Every name is wrong. Nothing ever explains what I feel like when I make a painting. It's not a word thing. The only thing that would be to come up with new words for everything, but would it help at all? No, I don't think so. Then the paintings would go with just unnamed number 1 and so on. It's a bit inconvenient, but that's no good. Unnamed means that you just didn't come up with a good name. And unnamed is a name, like that Greek guy with the sheep and all. Sei thinks about this for a while, furrowing her brow as she keeps looking at Rin's serious face. So you're saying, your artwork should be completely without labels. I think that's what I'm saying. Sei lets out a dry laugh, the kind old ladies who smoke too much always seem to end up with. Let's hope your art will never end up in a museum. The creators would explode. She takes a contemplative puff on her cigarette, which has worn down to not much more than the butt. Then she drops it in an ashtray affixed to the wall next to the door. Then again, it could work. What do you mean? This namelessness, this rejection of labels, it works. It's a good unifying theme, and something people can grasp onto easily. Allows for a lot of room for interpretation. It gives a good impression. Think about it. All sorts of associations can be made, starting from the identity and self-definition, all the way to whatever you want to think about. We could call your exhibition Nameless, and build it on that theme. How does that sound? Rin thinks about this for a while. I'm not sure how Sei managed to get so fired up by Rin's reluctance to apply names to her work. Feels like she might be extrapolating too much, but it's a pretty impressive sounding idea. How did you find out about this game? That's a fun story, actually. I found out about it, it would have been 2015. I was in a video game club. And one person in the club had a messenger bag with a logo for this game. And so I asked him about it, and he told me about it. And from there I downloaded it, and I played it over the summer. And that's how I found out about this game. That's how I experienced it. It would have been 7 or 8 years ago at this point. And this will be my third 100% playthrough of the game. So, yeah. A little bit of a interesting way to find out about it. Yeah, it was just complete coincidence. It's crazy how much this game means to me now. Just from that very simple beginning. Feels like she might be extrapolating too much, but it's a pretty impressive sounding idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. For what it's worth, I have to say it sounds pretty good to me, too. Say reaches into her pocket for another cigarette, lighting it with a neon green butane lighter. Her forehead wrinkles, and she rubs it as she appears to furiously think more on this idea. She doesn't say a word for a little bit, but every now and then she takes a sharp drag from the cigarette. Yes, I think this would work out pretty nicely. I'm going to take this as the starting point and work from there. I'm going into work on this. You go back upstairs and try to find your missing ingredient. I'm sure it'll come to you sooner or later. Rin doesn't reply, so Sei takes one last long pull from her cigarette and drops it in the tray to join with others of its kind. The gallery owner turns to head back inside, but is stopped by Rin just as he reaches for the door handle. Sei? What is it, kitten? Can I have some cigarettes? She looks at Rin incredulously, clearly not having expected such a direct request. Not that I did either. Don't tell your teacher. She stuffs the packet in Rin's pocket along with the neon green lighter. The day is already folding into dusk when we climb up the dark stairs leading up to what is now basically Rin's atelier. I think I have to recorrect my statement. These next two scenes are like my favorite in the entire game. As we go inside, Rin doesn't seem to be able to settle down. She keeps pacing around the room like a caged animal, looking through the skylight at the burgundy-colored dusk. The last light of the sun's advance across the sky reflects from the clouds, floating over the town, filling every corner of the atelier with blazing orange light. So, painting is going well? She blinks, then relaxes her muscles. I didn't even realize how tensed up she was until now. Not really. I haven't painted in 3 days. I'm going in squares. Circles? If you say so. I tried doing things a bit differently, but it doesn't work. And now the old way doesn't work either. I need something more. It's not enough like this. Rin's response gives me pause, since as usual I can't exactly understand what she means. Although really I shouldn't have expected anything else. She either says nothing at all, or too much. Trying to comprehend and follow her train of thought feels like wading through the jungles of Borneo, equipped with a wooden spoon and a map of Hokkaido. It's annoying how her thoughts are both laid out in plain sight and hidden from view every time she opens her mouth. What more? You said that to say as well. A missing ingredient? I think I have to destroy myself. Okay, that sounds unnecessarily grim. What do you mean? Rin's shoulders slump, and she turns to face me directly. I have to change. I've tried, but this is not enough yet. I have to destroy myself first, I think. Just to be clear, you are speaking metaphorically, right? Like learning to paint from scratch again or whatever, so to speak? She shrugs her shoulders as if there's no difference. There is no difference. So, you're going to start by smoking a cigarette. For inspiration? Maybe. I've never tried this before. Have you? No, can't say I have. Still, I'm not really sure if having a smoke is the best starting point. She responds to my words with another nonchalant shrug. I open the cigarette pack and look inside. It's almost full. Smoking is bad for you, okay? But that's the idea here, I guess. Yes, I need to do something. I want to paint. I need something more. I think I need to be a VTuber in this stuff, but a bit dangerous because my age is not too good for it. I don't really have any advice on that end. Rin, don't smoke, please. She has to destroy herself. I want to paint. I need something more. So, okay, fine. What's after smoking a cigarette, then? How do you intend to destroy yourself? Rin thinks for a split second, averting her gaze like she does when she doesn't want to get distracted. I don't know yet. I'll decide later. Rin bends down to pick out a cigarette from the end. She raises her head with one between her lips and turns to me. Eyebrows curved into two arcs, challenging me to respond. With a sigh of resignation, I pick up the lighter and raise it to meet the cigarette. I can feel Rin's warm breath against my quivering hand. The flame flickers to life on the third strike of the flint, and I try to aim the dancing fire at the end of the cigarette. An amber-colored glow spreads into the wrapping paper and tobacco as Rin inhales the first smoke. It seems to relax her significantly. To my surprise, she doesn't cough, despite telling me that she's a first-timer. Rin seems to remember that it's hard to blow the smoke out without spitting the cigarette out as well. She quickly sits down on the floor, bringing her foot to her lips like a circus contortionist, and expertly picks the filter between her toes. I get down on the floor as well, and we both lie down almost simultaneously, while Rin blows a steady stream of smoke towards the dim sky beyond the glass of the skylight, looking after it thoughtfully. I love this CG. No, this is bad for you. Well, I mean... sometimes you have to do things that are bad for you, but don't smoke. Don't smoke unless you decide you want to, and you're of age. The thin haze of steely blue smoke slithers towards the ceiling in fish-like movements. It billows in the stagnant air of the atelier, twisting and turning around its own immaterial body until it dissipates into thin air. What's the word for smoke that looks like that? There is no word for that. We should maybe come up with one. Maybe. I thought these were cigarettes, not good-ass weed. Machi, welcome to the stream. Oh. You came just in time for, like, my two favorite scenes in the entire game. But you've missed, like, 6 others. Yeah, well. It's actually been short. We're not even 2 hours in, and it's already, almost done with the route. Or act, not route. Was definitely not done with the route. Oh, stretch even more. My entire day has been sitting at desks. Maybe not the best for my posture. Rin takes another quick, experimental drag. It's not very tasty. Feels like inhaling the dust lying on top of a forgotten book about the memories of a dead kingdom. Do you want to try? My hesitation unintentionally surfaces again, making me freeze in the face of a rather trivial and commonplace challenge. Rin's ability to take everything so coolly is something I'm a bit jealous of. Alright. Taking it from her, I have a drag on it, fighting against the sudden choking feeling in my lungs as they fill with smoke. To my embarrassment, I fail, wheezing and hacking my lungs out. I feel flustered, but maybe I haven't lost too much face in Rin's eyes. It's less unpleasant on the second try, but I still pass the cigarette back to Rin. We're like a pair of budding delinquents in middle school, sneaking their first smoke out of sight of their teachers and parents. Well, I suppose it's not like, that's exactly what we are. After a while, the cigarette has shrunk most of the way down to the filter. Rin is still looking quietly out of the skylight. With her looking out there, the silence inside the atelier seems to deepen even more. Are the cogs of creativity turning behind those eyes right now? Do another one. I mechanically pick up another cigarette, light it, and place it on Rin's lips. She takes a few quick puffs and moves it awkwardly around with her lips. Take it. Not understanding her garbled words, I glance over at Rin. Looks like she's having trouble with the cigarette. I pick the cigarette from her lips and place it on mine, abandoning common sense and good reason while I do so. The first one should have been enough for me, but I take another drag, still coughing a little at the unpleasant sensation of smoke invading my respiratory organs. I remember doing something like this before. So you have smoked. Doesn't look like it, though. Nah, lying on my back and looking at the sky with you. Oh. The sky on the other side of the glass is slowly growing darker. It's unreachably high, even if the shimmering smoke seems to make it closer. I return the cigarette back to Rin's mouth. It feels bad, somehow. The space between us, less than an arm's reach, is still there. It's the distance between us, the immeasurably wide chasm of thoughts and feelings that separates us, with graver certainty than even light years of physical distance could. I feel like adding smoking to a heart condition is especially poor at Yukihyou. Yeah, but shh. The plot has to happen, so we have to let it happen. He'll be fine. By saying the right words, there might be a way to make that chasm narrower, even if it's just a little. I tried to cross that gap with one big step, but Rin turned me back. I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye. Rin is staring upwards through the smoke-filled ceiling and the skylight at the darkening sky above us. It's almost like she's sleeping, even though I know she isn't. Her eyes are open, as is her mouth. I take the cigarette from Rin before it falls on her cheek. She doesn't react to my touch in any way. So this is where we are now. I wonder if we can ever be closer than this. Take a drag of the cigarette and blow a thin stream of smoke upwards. These indirect kisses are the only things that connect us right now. The taste of Rin's lips on the filter, mixed with the ashen taste of the smoke. Her soft lips against my fingers as I press the cigarette on her mouth, as if she was placing kisses on them. The ash softly falling on the floor between us like snow. As the second cigarette is being finished off, I'm already lighting the third one. The only thing breaking the stillness of the atelier is the inaudible sound of smoke floating towards the first stars blinking overhead. Light nausea hits me by the fourth or fifth cigarette. Before long, the shape of the waxing moon appears in the skylight, shedding her wan light down on us. It'll be full moon in a few days. It'd be nice to be able to fly. I flinch after realizing it was my own voice that gave birth to the remark, the bastard child of almost inebriating smoke and tiredness. You can't? You can. Sometimes I feel like it. Like I can do anything. I wish I felt like that too sometimes. I wonder if she hears the bitterness seeping into my words. The vicious cycle of unrequited feelings is poisoning me, even now. I try to push the grim thoughts aside. My efforts meet with little success as my mind keeps swirling around what-ifs and if-onlys. Watching the moon slowly creeping higher, I realize that a long time has passed since I came here. It sobers me somewhat, but also reminds me of the sad status quo that we're in now. It's late. I'd better get going back to school. I stand up to leave, but Rin doesn't show any sign of rising up from the floor. She lies inanimate, as though all life had been sapped from her. Little wisps of smoke float about her, memories of the cigarettes we shared. I grasp her by her short and thin arm and try to pull her up. To my surprise, she complies and stands up with some help from me. I notice how little Rin weighs, as if you are made of feathers. Are you going to stay here overnight? I have to. I haven't painted much in 3 days. I have to figure out how I can start painting. Maybe the smoke helps. Just take a break. That's no good. I have to do it. If I can't paint anymore, I will be destroyed for real. Maybe you're just burned out. You've been working pretty hard. That would be bad. I wonder if this is it for me. I wanted to see how far I can go. Maybe this is it. The end. So it's sad it was very well given up so no one's heard of it. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because the game spawned from 4chan. And it kind of... just that in general. Has made it less well-known than usual. But, I don't know. It's a beautiful game. Beautifully well written. Everyone feels real. Thinking about it, this scene... I didn't hear the song before the scene, but this scene makes me think of, the song, Kore wa Tobacco. Or, Tobacco by Kurosawa, I mean. I feel like it's really fitting. Just, it's hard to explain, but tobacco is, very... Sorry, no problem. I'm glad you could stop by even for just a little bit. Thank you for, spending even a little bit of time in the stream. I hope you can, come back for another one. Yeah. I kind of thought about it, was, see you later. Yeah. It's, I think it's J-pop? I don't know much about the song. I know that someone I like to watch covered it, but it does the scene very much does remind me of, Kurosawa's Tobacco. Beautiful, beautiful song as well, so. Very fitting. You just have artist block. It's not a big deal. That's the word for when you can't paint, right? I've had that before. Never like this, though. I pick up a brush, then I want to put it down right away. And then I do. 3 days. It's like I've forgotten how to paint. I didn't think that was possible. Like more impossible than Emmy growing wings and a tail. You need a break. I mean, I get that you're trying to go deeper inside yourself for your paintings, but it's really not that healthy to stay inside your own head for so long. I glance at the night sky visible through the window. A couple of stars are weakly twinkling above the city. They remind me of something I used to do, once upon a time. It feels so horribly long ago. Come on, let's go outside. Where? Just for a walk. I'll show you my secret place. I don't know if it works in this town, but we can try. In any case, you need a break, and probably something to eat. Come on. You need to get your thoughts away from this for a while. When they're troubled, most people escape from their unhappy lives into a world of fantasy. I did that before, and still do today, reading books endlessly, immersing myself in their world rather than my own. Rin's escape should be the other way around, though, out of her inner world and into the real. Rin doesn't look happy about this, but I ignore her. At least she's somewhat cooperative, walking after me as we head down the stairs and then down the sidewalk. Reverse escapism. My actual favorite scene. I love this one. Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer night, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by shining neon colors and bland yellow streetlights. The air is easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably lighter than usual. The feeling of daytime in the hot summer has lasted long into the evening and night. I grab Rin by her sleeve, like I've seen Emmy do, and to my surprise, she obediently follows. The pale streetlights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together, the guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is the one moment where the usual silences that have become a ritual between me and Rin at last fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at a street we'd already seen once or twice. Sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she knows I don't have an answer. The silence of the night isn't scary, after all. The lights drive most of it away. The air grows cooler as the moon progresses along its journey in the cloudless sky. Few cars roam the streets at this hour, and even fewer people are on the sidewalk. The apparent lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting of this place. There are round-the-clock shops and cafes, sure, but the atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering. A town that sleeps 8 hours a day. The city I grew up in, bathed in the electric glow of a million light bulbs, never slept. I have seen it for myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened on one of the first times I was home alone. Both of my parents had business trips that neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. Their misplaced trust in me did not go to waste, as I proceeded to spend the entire night out walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say what made me stay downtown longer than I intended after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I walked long, concentric circles around a landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating. So I walked its streets. At every intersection, it was possible to choose your direction at random, because they all lead nowhere. The aimless wandering made me see things differently. I hope it'll do the same for Rin. We stop to buy some hot coffee and snacks from a vending machine, and then locate a bench where we sit down to eat. There is no time in the night of the town, so we spend an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness of the usually vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it'll be getting very early. So, is this it? Hearing Rin's voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored. Rather, her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here, yet curious to find out the answer. Yeah. Have you ever been out all night? It's like a different world. The remark sends her thinking for a while, looking around as if she was looking for something. The whiffs of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp. It's not a different world. It's just the same. Or it's the same, just asleep. What do you think this town is dreaming of? Maybe something like car sheep, or building sheep. Why are dreams always about sheep? I've never seen a sheep-related dream that I can remember. Do different towns dream of different things? Probably. How could they not? I answer half joking, half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue her list of rhetorical questions, though. Instead, she leans back a little and looks up at the moon traveling above the town. The cool breeze blowing between the buildings seems to steal the conversation away before it even really begins. It's too bad. It looked like Rin would get out of her blue mood. I wish I could somehow know the right things to say, but I realize I can't do that the way I am now. I'm too far apart from Rin. I haven't really managed to crack her open. She's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything, equally disinterested in everything, from the outset. In truth, she's locked tighter than anyone else I know, even myself. Sometimes she locks herself inside that inner world, shutting everything else out. At other times, her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that would make them intelligible to the rest of the world. What comes out in the form of paintings, I can't interpret. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I know now that it was a bad idea to try and reach to her in the way I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers of my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Rin turns her gaze to me, tilting her head quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my own rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I can manage to catch her attention just by speaking aloud nowadays. All the time. At least I think so. That's what painting feels like, a lot of the time. Or all the time. I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that I can really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like it's just another shadow of me, like a mirror that doesn't work right. Like talking? Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now it feels like that is going away too. Change really is a scary thing. Wish I could understand you. She looks at me melancholically, roused by my thoughts materializing as words spoken aloud. Me too. Whether she meant she wished for me to understand her to understand me, or her to understand herself, I never ask, nor do I find out. I see her eyes searching for mine. Serious and cryptic as they are, I'm not getting any explanation from there. Don't worry about it. I will. Small hints of a smile are wavering on her lips. When she's like this, it makes me feel that maybe there's hope for us. We get along so well for being so different. It's just that we never really get along precisely because we are so different. Maybe it was Rin's passionate approach to her own art exhibition, or perhaps my own careless words. But last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least we now seem to be back to normal. Relatively speaking. We stand up from the bench and pick yet another direction in which to go. The wee hours of night slowly pass by as we measure the streets of the town, one step at a time. We are finally at ease, not minding the rare lone passerby, the eerie darkness, each other, ourselves. Rin's step seems lighter, like the heavy air around her is letting go a little. It makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for the single remarks that are spoken into the night of the town, and never answered. The details jump into the eye instead of being the usual blur they are during the day. As the sky above the town changes from deep dark blue to gray, I know that our night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up too and nods at me. It's true. The coming light of morning is creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. It feels surreal. The sun won't come up for a while, but I get the feeling that the end of this night really is here and now. Should we head back? Rin nods again, twice, her hair waving in the breeze that seems to be heralding the coming dawn. Abruptly, she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout on which I'd brought her. It seems she really is in a better mood. This, too, makes me feel happy. Manji, do you know what's coming up next? Rin's navigational skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves in front of Sei's place. I don't know if this was any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse or maybe restlessness back then. Maybe this was a silly idea and didn't really help you at all. She just nods as an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now? I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while. Don't come and see me. Do something else. Her ultimatum catches me completely off guard. What the hell? What's that about? You said before that you didn't mind. I mind now. It's just for a while. I have to do this alone. I don't like that. Why? I don't want it to go like this. Why? I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She tilts her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing a little as she thinks. And you can touch me. What? You can touch me if you want. You'd feel better, right? I don't know. Try. Where do you want me to touch you? No boobs or left ear. Other than that, you can decide. Fine. I raise my hand hesitantly, even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Her eyes tell me that she's not going to explain. 1,000 thoughts race through my head as I slowly bring my hand closer to Rin's face and press 3 fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. She closes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. I can feel her soft breathing, her muscles releasing tension as my fingertips caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her head against my palm, or anything else you'd expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Once I withdraw my hand, she opens them again. It might be just an illusion created by the timid morning sunlight playing with my eyes, but Rin looks like she's holding back a smile. This is the problem with our relationship. Half the time, I have no idea what is going on, and the other half I just fail to understand why things are going on like they are. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Rin merely takes a step towards the door. See you later. Then she disappears from my reach for an undefined period of time. That scene is coming up, but I meant the abruptness of the back half of that scene. Of this scene, the back half of, what is it called? Of, reverse escapism. I need to get more water. I did run out, so, I'll be back in just a little bit. I forgot how abrupt that was. That's why I love it so much. You can kind of feel a sense of foreboding even if you haven't played it. You feel the sense that it can't be this easy. Like, it can't be this easy. It can't happen this easily, quickly. There has to be something. And then there it is. All the talk about how everything feels good, Hoshiuta feeling happy. Boom. Just like that. Okay, I do need to get more water, so I'll be back in just a second. bit longer of a break than I expected. It's alright though. We're back for the back half. We get real emotional. It definitely leaves you on the edge of your seat from my experience. Absolutely. 1000%. It's such a mix of emotions, and I love it for that so much. I love all the places it goes and what it gives to you. It's so... Rin is incredibly well written. Just nothing but praise for the writer of Rin's Root. I was thinking I could. The bad end is technically confined to Act 3. I could show that off tonight. I'm not doing that because I'm not letting people go. I'm not ending a stream with that fucking ending. I'm not. I just refuse it. I refuse to end any stream on such a bad note like that. I hold true to my promise of honoring Rin's request, even if it's against my own will. I try to redirect my focus into my studies, but end up zoning out during classes and doing only the minimum amount of work required. Still, I start looking into my post-high school options a bit more seriously. I pore over university brochures and various career paths. I'm good at studying, so I want to go to a university. I'm pretty sure I could get into a pretty decent one too. The only problem is deciding which subject would be the best. Kenji ridicules me about subjecting myself to the control of feminist teachers when I tell him about trying to get into university. I don't ask him about what he wants to do in the future. I wonder what Rin thinks of her own future. I bet she's not as lost as I am, and if she is, it's probably in some completely different way. I feel somewhat disappointed in finding out that I can't stop thinking about her. Her request makes me worry about her, and think about her more than I did when I could go and see her when I wanted. It bothers me that I can't. As expected, I eventually crack. Late one afternoon, I get on the bus heading downtown. I try to avoid explaining to myself exactly why I'm doing this, and keep thinking about other things for the entire duration of my trip. This is a bad idea. After a 5-minute walk, I'm standing in front of the gallery. I walk past it to the door of the atelier. At the last moment, I lose my courage and continue on all the way to the next corner, at which point I turn back. Will Rin hate me if I go and see her? I wonder what she's like when she's angry. I've never seen her angry. The worst thing would be if I actually ruined something by going to see her, like she seemed to imply would happen. But there's no way that can be true, can there? It's just one of her quirks. I walk back down the street and end up passing the atelier door for the second time. Only this time, as I continue all the way to the gallery, its owner is standing just outside the door, watching me. I thought that was you. What are you doing? I really don't want to explain the circumstances between Rin and me, so I get flustered and end up mumbling something unclear. She takes stock of me, then sighs deeply, looking wryly amused somehow. I hope she didn't misunderstand. Would you like to come in? Your teacher's visiting. We were discussing Rin's exhibition. Thanks for the invitation, but I really should. Don't be shy now, come on in. I follow Sei inside, finding that our art teacher indeed is there. Nomiya is standing at the big desk, contemplating what looks like an invitation card. Look what the cat dragged in. Nakai, hello there, my boy. He doesn't seem to be at all fazed by my appearance. How do you like the invitations? I glance at them quickly. They're kind of fancy, with one of Rin's paintings printed on the front cover in shiny gold writing. They look fine to me. They're magnificent. I absolutely love the design. And the embossed gold lettering. Fabulous. Good print work, too. You have to tell me where you get these done. What does Rin think? I haven't asked. She said she'd be fine with my decision anyway. Nomiya laughs boisterously, still turning the gold-lettered card in his hands. That's my girl. She wants to focus on the essentials only. Good for her. Her work is progressing well, too. It seems she's found new inspiration. think she's been sort of weird lately. It's like she's wrestling with something, with herself, probably, and it makes her confused. She said she had a hard time painting the last time I saw her. It seems to be resolved now, however. You know she practically lives up there now, right? Sei makes a simple gesture with her hand, as if sweeping my question aside. Sure. Don't you think that's weird? Maybe it is. Still, I think she understands how big an opportunity this is, and is going for it full throttle. Is it really that big? Nomiya sets the card down and brushes some imaginary dust off his jacket. Well, how should I put it? There are times in everyone's lives where something really big washes over you and changes you forever. This could be just that moment for Tezuka. I see. Yeah, I think I've had something like that happen to me. I am referring to the incident that brought me to Yamaku. Neither of the two adults comment on that, however. It might well be that everyone has, or will. At any rate, surrendering oneself to art is a big decision. And a thorny path, too. Quite thorny indeed. Tezuka has almost everything one needs. Whether she has the will to pull through, that's a different question. I should know that best. I tried going down this path too, but turned away in the end. I don't understand what he's trying to say. So this one doesn't matter. Why did you turn away from being an artist? Okay, yep, alright. Yes, why did you turn away from being an artist? Why did you stop exactly? You've mentioned that before. Oh, that's a long story. Nomiya throws a sideways glance at the gallery owner, who has drawn her mouth into a thin, straight line. I've had a life-changing experience like that, even though I didn't realize it until later. Did I tell you that Sei and I have known each other for a long time? We studied at the same school. It's been... Goodness, how long has it really been? Please don't count the years, Shinichi. Maybe you're right. At any rate, when we were in school we had this... friend, I should say. This is a sad scene. This is a depressing scene. We were in the same program, and I think he met Sei at some party. I got to know Sei through him, in fact. He was a spectacular artist. Much like Tezuka, great talent despite the young age. He easily left the rest of us in his dust. This is the sad scene, but the scene after is the scene after is truly gut-wrenching. We were good friends, he and I, but there were things that created friction in the friendship. It felt like I was watching him from afar. You weren't the only one. Nomiya coughs, looking embarrassed. At any rate, he, ended up taking his own life. Such a tragedy. In retrospect, that was what made me choose a career as a teacher in the end. Scene that cemented how bad Nomiya... Yeah. He left out a lot of details as well. I'm not sure if they get revealed in Act 4 or not, but he left out a lot of that story. Never was that brilliant nor that passionate. I desperately wanted to be a career artist, but I wasn't suited for that. You were good enough. Perhaps I would have been. But this is what I ended up with. Just didn't have that drive after he was gone. I'm fond of kids and enjoy all forms of art, so it felt rather natural to take this path in life. But I think all that history with that friend of ours was the key thing, as sad as it was. A turning point, as they say. That is a gross way to put it. Sei stands up and digs in the pocket of her jacket for a cigarette and a lighter. Her hands are shaking. I'm going out for a smoke. Wordlessly, Nomiya and I both decide to follow her after a moment. It's already dark outside. Sei is standing with her back to us, taking sharp occasional drags on her cigarette. Its weak amber glow illuminates her face, framing her sharp jawline. Maybe it's best to call it a night. I can give you a lift back to school if you want, Nakai. You're not going anywhere, Shinichi. I need a drink. We're going to that place at the corner. The teacher looks at the old lady, then shrugs at me apologetically. It's no problem. I'll just catch the bus back. I'm headed upstairs to see if Rin will come back to school with me anyway. I think she's been staying overnight here too often lately. Say locks the front door of the gallery and links arms with the old art teacher. I feel strange looking at them. I wonder what it feels like to have friends who've been with you for decades, for most of your life. I can't imagine it. The two of them start making their way down the street towards the bar on the corner, so I quickly head upstairs to the atelier door, ready to get what I originally came here for. Uh-oh. Just because thanks to me, because that lesson you took from all this. Yeah. He left out a lot of that story. The fact that the friend was Say's husband. The fact that his art drove him. Step in front of a bus. Yeah. It just... ugh. That's all the words I have is ugh. And then you immediately get hit with this scene. This scene. It's gut-wrenching. Ugh. Delirium is one of the most painful. It is time for this scene now. It is one of the most painful non-ending scenes. It's counted as an NSFW scene. It's anything but. It is anything but. I climb upstairs and enter carefully. The most uncomfortable... yeah. The room is dark because of the quickly falling night, but I can see Rin, or rather her silhouette, sitting on the floor. So she's got her inspiration back, like Say said, and moved from the easel to painting on the floor. Before I manage 5 steps, I stop, frozen in my tracks. The ironic realization that human cognitive ability is commendable echoes through my mind. From a mere movement of her shadow, it took me a fraction of a second to realize something is awry, process what I'm seeing, formulate the answer, and blush all the way up to the tips of my ears. Need to see... okay. Not to just hold on this, but there is a line I do have to... there is the last paragraph of this scene that's going to get censored I do have to read, because it is immensely important to the plot. Rin is sitting on the floor, with her legs under her. She moves in rhythmical motions back and forth, slowly grinding herself against herself. Her breathing is so heavy, it's almost visible in the dim light. It's the heavy panting of one who doesn't have the option of breathing gracefully. Her hips, mere shadows against the dim light shining on her from above, are swinging circularly over and over again. She hasn't noticed me, so engrossed she is in her activity. The deadlock solves itself before I get a chance to think what to do next. Something in the atmosphere of the room changes. A little thing, not consciously noticeable, but it changes. Perhaps a timid current from the open door, or a minute change in air pressure. The sound of my breathing, even though I notice I haven't taken a breath for many, many seconds. The aura of my presence. That something catches Rin's senses. She stops moving, freezes, and slowly turns to the door. I imagine, not see, the horror on her face, like a fawn's eyes staring at a hunter. I wonder if Rin can see my expression, but at least she doesn't have the strength or the spirit to look straight in my eyes. So she droops her chin against her chest, letting her mess of a hair hide her face from me even further. I feel like I should either walk out or walk to her, but I can't do either. I told you to stay away. Her words are defeated, painful as if she was suffering. Rin doesn't have anything other than her shirt on. I can see the last wisps of the twilight against the pale skin of her thighs and bottom. There is no way I can back off anymore. I lost that chance, so I do the next best thing. I quickly avert my gaze, even though Rin doesn't see what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. I didn't think. It's not like that. Her voice is raspy, shivering from held-back tears or something else. She is shaking, looking like she is physically in pain. It's not like that. I had no idea what it means to change, but I know now you have no idea what I had to do. And all the things that pass through, and I think I forget, I really don't. They just build up inside and grow and grow and grow until they flow out like a flow of everything that has ever been wrong. I can't take it. I can't think of things I want because there's only so many things that I can think. 4, 6, 7, doesn't matter. It's never enough. I have to put this out. I have to destroy, forget it, and nothing else. Rin is mumbling her words into the air, more than talking to me. It is the rambling, ranting, raving speech of a lunatic, even and steady in tone, but taking the form of a never-ending stream of words, almost simultaneously spawning from between her lips. It feels like she forgets it's me who is present, or that someone actually is present. Maybe she vaguely recognizes what is real and what is not. Maybe in her mind I am a voice inside her head. I look down at Rin's sorry figure, cowering on the floor with only the white shirt of her usual attire on. It neither preserves her modesty that is gone, nor her body warmth that she doesn't seem to care about. She looks more broken than I imagine a human person being capable of, and the hospital and school have given me some real perspective on that. I remember the hazy blue smoke, and myself wondering what Rin would do for the sake of art. The realization that Rin really is always serious hits me with its entire weight. She really and truly would destroy herself if her art required it. I thought she was so silly with her strange ways, talking about personal change as if it was something sudden and concrete, like waking up. I had no idea. This is her, laid bare in front of my eyes in all possible meanings of the word. Complete isolation here in the top floor of this building, in this room, in her mind. Day after day, working on her paintings with no heed paid to anything else, breaking herself to reach that which she wishes to reach. This obscene act that she does for reasons I'm not sure she herself understands. Why does she have to do this? I'm trying to connect the pieces, but I don't understand. I feel sad, scared, excited, disgusted, worried, and a number of emotions I can't remember the name of now. I feel conflicted. I should go. I'm really sorry. It doesn't matter. My voice is dry and quiet, like sandpaper coming out of my throat. I really am sorry. Sorry for seeing this. I don't want to see Rin like this. All I can see is her sadness, her stress and despair. Is this what a limit means? How could Sei and Nomiya let Rin go this far? Or is it me who is to blame? I almost walk out right there. But at the last moment, I turn around, steel myself, and walk to Rin to crouch down behind her and lightly touch her forehead. She doesn't resist or react. I can't leave her like this. She's not well. She feels like she has a fever, freezing cold and burning hot at the same time. I wonder if she got sick from staying out all night with me back then. It seems she's prone to getting ill. There is a blanket on the couch, but I wrap my arms around Rin instead of fetching it. She does not resist my clumsy hug, only slumps her head lower, deepening the shadows, hiding her face from me. What are you doing? Nothing. I am not embracing her out of love, nor out of forgiveness, for I am in love, or is she sorry? I just want to hug her. For a moment, the only sound in the room is her heavy breathing. My body warmth, shared between two people, is barely enough, but slowly, painfully slowly, it spreads from me to her. The small warmth returning to Rin makes me more conscious of her body against mine. Even in darkness, I can feel the fleeting scent of Rin's hair, the sweat on her skin, the dried paint stuck in her shirt. I feel the hardness of her bones and the softness of her flesh. Her heartbeats echoing mine, out of rhythm, just like always. The hot blood rushing inside me reminds me why I said what I said back then. Why I came here, even after that. Why I am here tonight again. Why I am hugging her now, to keep her safe against the cold and the sadness. Rin has really grown on me inside my heart, claiming a small part of it as her own, without even particularly trying. Rin. Even if she wanted to push me away, I can't help this feeling. Are you all right, Rin? I'm not. I think I broke. I painted. I painted some really good things. Incredible. But it hurt me. I can't handle this. Her voice cuts out as there are no more words for her to say. It's not an angry voice, nor a sad voice. It is a lifeless voice. I pat her head and shoulders, the physical equivalent of saying, there. It's not like I could reassure her with the sweet nothings that people are supposed to say in this kind of situation. I'm not sure if she would even listen or be reassured. She didn't react much to my embrace either, as if she didn't care. Maybe she doesn't. At least she doesn't care if she looks sad or not. There are no facades, no attempts to explain herself, no faux happiness. Rin is honest. Hiseo? What is it? You're my friend, right? Right. Will you do me a favor? I can't fix this, but I'm not finished yet. Her dry voice is a mere whisper, but the strength, her last, is in it, delivering her meaning much more clearly than her words. I can feel Rin's heart beating against my chest like a scared little bird. Her entire body is shivering from her fever, from her fear, from her despair. My brain is fast becoming overloaded with the myriad of thoughts this encounter spawned, but I have to push them all aside. I snuggle my nose against her earlobe, which is soft and cold, and her hair, which smells good and tickles me. Alright. I'll do it. I whisper in her ear reassuringly, trying to make her calm down. It works at least halfway, as Rin closes her eyes and leans against me as if searching comfort from my warmth. But this is not something that friends should do. We can't be friends anymore? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just relax. Even though I said that, I'm on the verge of breaking myself. If I wasn't so nervous, I would laugh at my own But in this way, I move my hand lower, touching the naked skin of her stomach, caressing Rin with my hand. Her muscles contract timidly, evading my touch, but soon they find their trust in me and relax. Okay. Okay. Before we actually continue the reading, there are the last, I guess I'll just read the entire last narrator paragraph. I push Rin over the edge. Her entire body contracts around my fingers in a blinding, deafening, paralyzing spasm. Her voice is incredible. I never thought it could be so violent, so absolute for a girl. Later, I would come to think that this finally was the moment when Rin fully let herself go, and in one single instant, destroyed and rebuilt herself, just like she wanted. Whether it's the truth or not, I couldn't say, but that's how I felt. Okay. The most important line that will ever get skipped by one of these censors. Rin gasps for breath like she's drowning, returning to reality because she has no other choice. Her entire body is still in the throes of the slowly dying moment. Pearls of sweat are glistening on her forehead. I'm feeling my own heat inside of me, but now the spur of the moment is gone, and I don't know what to say to Rin, who is panting, hot and ecstatic, in my arms. Her shirt, wet with sweat, is glued to her back, revealing hints of her shoulder blades and waistline. She feels limp, weak, exhausted. I reach out for the blanket and wrap it around her and me. Rin doesn't resist me. She's drained of all strength. What will happen now? I don't know. Nothing, I suppose. You look tired. I am tired. It feels strange, like I lost something. I mean something else than my marital purity. Don't say something like that. Neither of those things. I don't want to lose you. What does that mean? I'm not going anywhere. I'm afraid that you are. All the time. In that moment, I felt that it was not only Rin who lost something of hers. I felt like I was losing a part of myself. Or maybe all of me. But if you were to ask what it was that I lost, I couldn't say. Because I had already forgotten it. I broke another promise by coming out with my honest feelings to Rin. That's 2 in one day. I hate the distance between you and me, so every time it gets a little bit closer, I become afraid of losing it. That's weird. I guess so. Do you mind if I sleep a little? No, I guess you don't. You like watching, don't you? She closes her eyes and swallows with a loud gulp, trying to relax herself, fighting against the urge to paint. Yes, I do. Rin moves her body in my arms, searching for a comfortable position in her very uncomfortable position. She leans against me, closing her eyes, and lets one last long breath out before settling into the steady rhythm of sleep. With her last moments of awareness, she whispers something to me, but I can't hear it. Rin drifts deeper into sleep with a deep sigh that releases all remaining tension from her muscles. I try to shift around to place both of us more comfortably. It takes a while, because I don't want to wake up Rin, even though she probably wouldn't, but eventually I find a position I am somewhat comfortable with. I lean against the soft cushions of the couch and breathe in the cool air of the atelier. Rin's head rests against my chest, as if she were listening to my heartbeats. Echoes of her dream ripple as small twitches on her face, like a cat sleeping the mouse hunter's dream. The full moon, shining her pale light upon us from beyond the skylight, reflects from a blank canvas, standing forgotten on the easel. Its whiteness is glowing against the dark night of the atelier. I don't have words for you. I don't. I don't have words for that anymore. Other than you understand, right? Ugh. Ugh. The very worst part is that directly from the scene after that, you can lead right to the bad ending. And even without the bad ending, this scene... Fuck. It all comes crashing down. I said I didn't want to end the stream on a bad note, but it's going to end on a bad note anyway. Because that's how Act 3 ends. Through the grogginess of a freshly awakened mind, I can observe my surroundings, only one thing at a time. The morning light shining from the skylight is bright and sky-colored. It reflects from the white walls and the colorful posters and paintings. I hope nobody at school realized I spent the night here. Didn't find out the last time, so I'm feeling confident about my chances. My neck is stiff and my shoulders are hurting like hell from sleeping in an awkward position like that. I can't even remember when I fell asleep. Only the full moon and Rin warm against me. I can't remember her waking up either, leaving my side. However, she has. Rin is standing in the middle of the atelier, looking as if she was lost. She's not looking at anything, I can see. Not doing anything. Just standing there. She's managed to dress up a little by herself. A strange thing. I thought that at least would have been impossible without hands. I get up and walk to her, patting her on the shoulder to get her attention. Hey. She flinches at the contact. I've never seen Rin flinch. Rin looks a bit panicky, a bit anxious, a bit defensive. As if she were a completely different person last night. Perhaps she was. My heart drops straight down to my stomach, full of liquid nitrogen. I'm sort of sorry. Why sorry? It wasn't very tactful of me, you know, last night. But isn't that sort of thing something you want? Because you like me? So blunt. I am completely baffled by Rin's approach to this. No, even if it was, I think I'd prefer for things to go properly. Rin cocks her head, looking like she has no idea what I'm talking about. She still has this guarded feel about her, but nothing belies any real emotion. So you don't want to do that sort of thing? I didn't say that. So you do? I didn't say that either. Listen, it doesn't even matter. I just don't think it was the best thing I could have done in that situation, and I tried to apologize. I wonder for whose benefit I'm trying to come clean with these feelings. I don't even know why I'm feeling so terribly guilty. Maybe. I don't think it was a very good idea either. Probably. It's like you said. We are not like that. We are friends. It was a bad idea. Maybe you should forget about it, and I will too. I'm really good at forgetting things, so it should be alright with me. I can't do that. Why? Because I like you, That's why. I told you that you shouldn't talk about that. I don't agree. Besides, you brought it up yourself before. I hold my hand up and pinch the bridge of my nose in frustration. I have no idea how to get Rin to understand. I hate that Rin can't clearly tell what she feels about anything. I hate that she's sending these confusing signals, as if she's expecting me to read her mind. Do you hate me? She actually thinks about this for some time. I don't hate anything. I don't think I'm a hateful person. Then what am I to you? Help me understand. I try to sound as reasonable as I can, but I don't know if it will help. Rationally thinking, this is the only way to get her to understand my point of view. Problem is, rationality never was a thing for Rin. It doesn't restrict her like it restricts me. It's not her driving force. It doesn't make her behave like a normal person. I can't. The same answer. I feel so powerless. I feel frustrated. Why? I don't think you'd understand. I am not sure if I do. The things you hate. Can you guess which one leads to the bad end and which one leads to the good end? Okay, I do have my 2 saves there. Sure got tripped up on this one. I actually don't know if that's sarcasm or not. The game does lead you to it. Walk straight. Oh no. Oh, Bungie. Oh. Thinking about it more, the game does try to lead you to which one is the good answer. With the asking if you want to understand her or not. Because earlier, had trouble keeping up with Rin. I would have had so much trouble with that for a guide. Rin is he's complex. So the way to get to the good end is I need to understand. I need to understand why. I'm not gonna give up, you know. Rin's shoulders slump, and she frowns. I know. I do want to be there for you, but I can't do that unless I know how. Just let me do this thing the way I want. That's all. Fine. I don't care. You wanted to change. You wanted to destroy yourself. You want this exhibition more than anything, right? Yes. Okay. Then do it. She doesn't respond or even show acknowledgement of understanding. I'm grinding my teeth together, frustrated beyond anything I thought possible. I want to grab Rin's shoulders and shake her until she comes to her senses. I look at her, and in that moment, I know that with crystal clear certainty that there is nothing I can do for Rin. None of the words I know would reach her, but still. I think that, for whatever reason you think it's important that you go this way all the way to the end. Even if it's not healthy for you, on many different levels. But I'll have nothing to do with it. I can't accept being treated like this, and not understanding the reasons for it. I'm finished here. The full weight of what I said sinks in the silent distance between us. Rin doesn't show any reaction, nor even blinks her eyes. She just stares at or through me, quietly. That's fine. Her voice is perfectly calm, emotionless, like an announcement that the 7:30 train will be 7 minutes late. With those words, Rin made her choice, and I made mine. If either of us secretly wanted to change our mind, it's too late for that. I take a hard, long look at Rin, hoping that it conveys my feelings. Without knowing whether it does or not, I leave the atelier for the last time, feeling empty and anxious like so many times before. Act 4. Dream. Oh. Oh. I told you it wasn't going to end well. If that's how bad Act 3 ends on the way to the good end, oh boy. Oh boy. Friday is going to be a stream. Friday is going to be a stream. 93%. Badon. And, Shards of Ire. Got a handful of scenes left for Friday. Finished the first page of CGs. We got 8 more left. 3 of them from the neutral ending, which hurts even more than the bad ending. Ugh. Boy, I am not gonna be okay on Friday. I am not gonna be okay. I'll come straight out and say that I'm not gonna be good. Oh. This root. Oh. It has a really good way of just giving you a complete knot in your stomach. We do get to see what the final thing here looks like. And all that. All 3 act scenes like that. Oh. This is a heavy game. Yes, it is. It is not the kind of game that, so happy-go-lucky. It hurts you. It hurts you deep. Cuts deep. Alright. Gonna have red velvet back. Oh. Ugh. It's only gonna get it has to get worse before it gets better, though. And believe me, Friday is gonna be the worst of the worst. I just, want people to be emotionally you may think I'm playing this up. I want people to be emotionally prepared for this. Because Friday, that Act 4, because we're gonna start with a bad ending. We're gonna get the neutral ending because it follows a completely different scene set, and we'll follow the rest of it to the good ending. And the good ending is one of the most beautiful ones, and the neutral and bad ends are some of the most painful. So I hope that prepared, because it is certainly something. It is. It's hard to describe. It's really hard to even talk about. Especially because there's still more left, so. Oh, 3 hours though. Not as long as I thought it would be, but not as short as anything else, so. If we look ahead to Act 4, we'll see all 12 Act 4 scenes tomorrow. Only one decision, though. But that one decision is the difference between the good and neutral endings. But that will not be taking place tomorrow. Tomorrow will be nothing. I am taking tomorrow off. I have a more intense shift than usual, and I really need to rest my throat before the next 2 streams. Especially Saturday. Saturday is the final Katawa Shoujo stream. We'll have 100%. We'll have all that stuff. And ooh. I gotta find time, probably Friday night, to get the CGs I can't show. So that'll be interesting. But then we'll take a look at the final 2 scenes from Act 1 and the final CG, and then we'll look at the 100% CG. It's a fun stream, even with the emotional gut punch. I'm glad you enjoyed it, even with the game just wrenching your guts with that. It's, oh. It has to get worse before it gets better, and it will get much, much better. The good ending is beautiful. We'll see that on Friday. I hope that everybody who's stuck around, everybody who's enjoyed this series will come out and see the final ending to the final route of the game, and then come by the next day for the very final wrap-up, and then some reflection, some trivia. I say trivia, it's not actually like a trivia show, it's just I found some fun facts, so. That's all I have for you today, though. I need to emotionally recover, good lord. And I also need to physically recover my voice. Looking forward to that. I'm glad, I'm very, very glad. Wanted to show this game off to more people, that's why I decided to stream it, so. I appreciate that people are enjoying it. If you enjoyed the stream, leave a like. Leave a comment if you're watching the VOD. Subscribe and hit the bell. We're closing in on 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers means some fun things planned. We're getting so close. So, I hope that I can get there. Get there and show it all off. I'm glad okay, so confession time. I was really trying to voice things very well. I've been trying to use this as a good voice acting thing, and I hope that it's shown through, and I'm glad that it seems to have, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Subscribers. Follow me on Twitter for updates on things. I have my schedule there. I'll post fun stuff. We're almost at 300 followers on there too, which is super fun. All the links are down in the description below. Twitch for Gorilla streams, those will happen. Maybe Thursday night. Maybe chill Thursday night stream where MLB. Who knows? Depends on how I feel. I'm going to have dinner with my old roommate tomorrow night and watch the Bears game. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Other than that, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you're safe and I hope you're well. And I hope to see you in the next stream, Friday, 5 p.m. CST. OhaHyou, everyone. Bye-bye.